866. This is the Phil Hendrie Show.
All right, we are back. We're going to be talking about Easter all this week on the Phil Hendrie Show and things to do with the family on Easter week. Going to bring Dean Wheeler on. He's with the Northern California Easter and Spring Solstice group. And you guys, Dean, have an Easter egg hunt and a spring solstice all rolled into one. And by spring solstice, we're talking about what?
By spring solstice, Phil, we're talking about bringing back the original pagan, not anti-Christian, but pagan roots of Easter, and we have a blast with it. We have a great time with the kids. We love the kids to enjoy Easter. We also want them to appreciate the historical aspects of pagan festivals. And one of the most popular things that we do is our Easter egg hunt. And the kids come from all over. It's our Easter egg roll with an eye toward good health.
All right, so this is like a holistic health Easter egg hunt. There's a lot of things going on. Is it for the kids?
It is for the kids. They absolutely love it.
What do you do?
Well, the kids will eat the chocolate eggs, and they have candy and enjoy a traditional Easter sugar treats. And then we have a late Easter brunch with things that, the kids love, Phil. Pizza and hamburgers.
Sounds like fun.
The kids absolutely go crazy for it every year. We have spaghetti and we have ice cream, and then we balance the afternoon out with a nod towards staying healthy. And that's the holistic part of it.
So that's the part where you also, because it's hard to think of eating candy and then staying healthy.
Well, the way we do it, Phil, and the kids just love this, is we balance it out. We make it fun. We give each child a late afternoon. As you know, in the holistic health circles, it is a very, very popular thing, and we introduce it to the children late afternoon enema. We do it on our veranda with the afternoon sun setting. We don't just use water. We use water with chocolate.
You're giving the kids enemas.
In the right after we have our brunch. And we do this with an eye toward health of the child. Believe me, the kids love it, Phil.
This doesn't scare them or anything?
They absolutely love it. It's full of surprises and games. If they're a little bit scared of the enema, we tell them if they submit, I shouldn't say submit, if they agree to an enema, they'll have extra chocolate. If the kids are still scared, we show them how much Peter Cottontail loves it.
Now, who is Peter Cottontail? Is that a costume that you wear?
That is exactly right, Phil.
So you and your wife get into costume, and it's you and your wife, Becky, right?
Yeah, my wife, Becky, who helps us with that, and she also works with me over at the Timber Press. We're both writers on New Age things.
Now, are you Peter Cottontail?
Yes, that's right.
Well, when you say that if the kids are scared of the enemas, you show them how much Peter Cottontail loves that. What does that mean?
Well, my wife will demonstrate an enema on me, so the kids can see there's nothing to be afraid of. There is.
Are you in a rabbit suit?
Yes, I am. I'm wearing a Peter Cottontail costume. All right, so
the kids eat chocolate in the early afternoon. Then you have an Easter brunch. Then they get enemas. What is that supposed to do? Is that
well? What that does, Phil, is it gets all of the toxins introduced from the sugar. It gets all of the poisons out of their system. If a child ingests chocolate at, say, 12 noon or even 3, you can introduce a safe and effective enema as early as 6 p.m. To eliminate the toxins.
Are you, just not to ask you a question, Dean, are you a doctor?
No, my wife Becky works, Phil, for a consortium of veterinarians in the Mill Valley area, and the enema is used widely by veterinarians and can be crossed over for crossover use on children. But, Phil, I'm going off on a tangent. It's fun. I want to emphasize this. It's a lot of fun. The kids enjoy it.
But your wife is demonstrating the enema on you in case the kids get scared, and I'm concerned that maybe...
Well, no, I'm wearing a rabbit suit that has a hole cut in it just below the tail.
Yeah.
And then they lift up the tail.
And your wife is demonstrating enemas on you.
Yes, but again, Phil, it's a fun afternoon. The kids love it. They have a blast when it comes down to, my wife administers them. I dress up in a Peter Cottontail costume. We play music from Radio Disney. The kids just have a blast with it.
Well, the question of...
They really do love it, Phil, and I don't want you to be concerned.
But the question I have, how does a kid have fun with an enema?
Well, the nature of the enema is such that the kids make... you know how children are. They love to make rude noises. They like to make what the kids call the fart sounds.
Oh, okay.
And you see, and so they can make fart noises, and they can do something that they call cutting the cheese and this kind of thing. So around 3 p.m. we give our enemas, then after that we take our oath to Peter Cottontail, and then we wait for the parents to pick the kids up.
And the oath to Peter Cottontail is what?
Well, it's something where we promise each other that this is our own private Easter celebration, and we don't have to tell the adults, because it's the land of make-believe, and in the land of make-believe, no adults are alive. And if you tell an adult, then maybe the Easter Bunny might hurt you, or this kind of thing. We want to keep this a kids-only celebration. It's our Easter egg roll and solstice celebration. We give the kids all a chocolate. We give them a nice warm water enema with chocolate introduced, and it's really, they have a lot of fun with it. I know it's difficult for adults to understand, but when you've worked with children as long as I have.
All right, well, our number is 1-800-449-8686. 1-800-449-8686. I'm talking to Dean Wheeler, his wife Becky, and he have the Northern California Easter and Spring Solstice Easter egg hunt and Easter egg roll. The children eat chocolate, and you have a brunch.
We have a brunch. It's terrific. We got hot dogs and hamburgers and you name it, and a great barbecue.
And then you give the children enemas.
That is where we introduce holistic healing and health issues. We give them an enema.
And that's to purge. The problem, I don't know if I want to call it a problem.
Phil, the kids love it. Believe me, they have a great time with it.
Yeah, but the thing that I guess, let me ask you this. You take an oath to Peter Cottontail and you promise not to tell any adults.
Well,
you see, isn't that a little wrong?
Well, no, because what you really want to do is tell the kids that they can trust you, and you can trust them, and there's trust all around, all right? And why mess up a good thing by introducing adults that might not understand? Your questions, I can tell that you have questions.
Yeah, I have questions. I'm thinking my own kids going and having Easter with you and your wife and then getting enemas.
Well, no, but this is for health reasons only, Phil. And again, the kids really have a blast with it, because when you introduce, and I don't want to get too graphic.
Yeah, I wish you wouldn't.
But when you introduce the hose, and it makes all kinds of fart noises, and if there's nothing funnier to a kid than the sound of Becky. That was my wife, Becky.
Yeah, I understand what it sounds like.
But that's what the kids enjoy. And so I guess what I'm saying to you is I wouldn't overreact if I were you. The kids love the enemas. We've had some kids coming back for 3-4 years in a row for the Peter Cottontail enema. We also have...
You have kids returning, but they're not telling their parents.
Well, Phil, again, this is something that's the world of children. And we tell, they don't want the Easter Bunny to suck blood out of them. And that's, so that's what they say. Right?
All right, hold on, Dean. 1-800-449-8686. Happening this Sunday, the Northern California Easter and Spring Solstice Easter egg hunt. The kids eat hot dogs, they eat hamburgers, they eat pizza, they have their chocolate candy, and then they get enemas from this guy and his wife. Let me go over here to Mr. Wheeler. I'm sorry. And your wife's name is what?
Phil, my wife's name is Becky.
Becky, okay. Here is Sherry on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Phil?
Yes, I'm right here.
I never turn on the radio at night. I'm never out this late. But tonight was a chance, and I turned on the radio, and I cannot believe this Mr. Wheeler guy telling kids, and he works with kids, and they give them enemas and tell them not to tell their parents.
Well, a lot of parents don't understand, Sherry, the holistic methods of healing and the new age medicines. And enemas are a great way to purge toxins from the body.
Any time that you tell a kid
the kids
not
love it.
to tell the adult, then let me tell you something. That to me is a child molester right there.
Well, I think you're going way overboard.
Stop.
I think you're
no
going
way.
way over. You're going way overboard.
I think you're wrong.
Well, wait a second. Let me explain. The kids love it because they can make the fart noises and all of that stuff, and we have a ball with it. There's nothing wrong with it.
And you encourage the kids to eat chocolate, and that's
you bet. That's
wrong.
what children eat on Easter, Sherry. I don't know how many children you have, but children eat chocolate on Easter.
No. Phil Hendrie,
we give them supper.
I am sorry I've listened to this radio show. I cannot believe somebody would let something happen.
Well, Sherry, let me ask Dean. Dean, I think what's bothering Sherry is you don't tell the parents.
Well, Phil, you see, this is why. Listen to her. She's overreacting. She doesn't know the nature of what we're doing. Why introduce this information to an adult who's going to get hysterical? Look, we take the enema hose, we put it up there and get all that bad stuff out, and the kids have a blast with it.
I can't believe I'm hearing this
What is it that I'm saying that you can't understand? I don't...
Because let me tell you something. That is wrong. That is a personal, private area of a child, and nobody should be allowed.
That's where they do their doo-doo. That's no big thing. Only the adults. Can I ask you something, Sherry? Have you ever had an enema, or have you had a chocolate enema? Or?
Absolutely. I'm sorry,
you have?
Henry. I cannot stand it no longer.
You can grab a bottle of Hershey syrup. Are you there, ma'am? Hello? Well, I was going to say to the caller, Phil.
Yeah?
She can get a bottle of Hershey syrup, and you can put it up there and squeeze. It's really, I'm really amazed that, and this is the reason why we don't tell adults.
Well, you think she's overreacting?
Absolutely, yeah. But I would suggest to any adult who doesn't understand how much fun it is for the kids to get a bottle of Hershey syrup, go to the bathroom, and just warm it up a bit.
Yeah.
Are you taking notes?
No, sir, I'm not taking notes, no.
Oh?
I mean, I just, as a parent, I would have a problem with this.
And that's why we don't like to tell the adults. They just don't understand.
I don't know what it is that I'm not understanding about you giving enemas to kids on Easter Sunday and not telling the parents. What am I not getting?
The fact that kids love it. They have a ball with it, Phil. They're not scared at all. They don't think I'm bad. They don't think Becky, my wife, is bad. As I said, she's performed literally thousands of enemas working in different animal hospitals. She knows what she's doing. None of the kids get injured. But again, adults just don't get it, so we try not to.
All right, 1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686. We're talking with Dean Wheeler from the Northern California. They're having an Easter egg hunt, an Easter egg roll in Northern California this coming weekend, and apparently they are giving the kids...
Phil, it gives new meaning to the term Hershey Squirts, and the kids think that's funny. They think it's a riot. And the kids are afraid if Mommy and Daddy find out they're having too much fun, they won't be able to come back.
Well, this is an Easter egg hunt. The kids eat the chocolate. They have a big Easter brunch, and then they are given enemas by Mr. Wheeler and his wife, Becky. He says the kids love it. They have a blast with it because they can make fart noises. And then they take what's called the Peter Cottontail Oath, and this may be what that lady was finding fault with, which is, let's not tell the adults because we're having too much fun and they might ruin it. And I think that's where some of the questions arise. 1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686, The Phil Hendrie Show.
One 800-449-8686.
All right, hold on for a minute. I will ask my engineer, Craig Taylor, not to play that music because I don't think that...
Phil, is there something wrong? Or?
I don't think the Easter Bunny music is appropriate because of... we've got a lot of concerned people calling and asking, is it appropriate for you and your wife to be giving Easter enemas to underage children when the adults don't know?
Well, Phil, the answer is to that question is yes. When you see how much fun the kids have with the enemas, they eat their chocolate, they have the brunch. We go ahead and put the old enema hose up there and fire away, and we have a great time with it. See, we all understand each other, me and Becky and the kids, but the other adults don't understand, and that's the only reason why we have them take the oath.
Yeah, but you also tell them that if they tell an adult, the Easter Bunny will come and suck blood out of their neck.
We do it all in fun. The kids think it's very funny. The Easter Bunny says, oh, those big teeth are going to go into your neck and drain the blood out of you, and the kids have a blast with it.
All right, 1-800-449-8686. Denise, you're on the Phil Hendrie Show. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm with that one lady that I'm beside myself with this.
Well, ma'am, if you saw how much fun the kids
I
have
don't
with the
care
fart
how
noises,
much fun the kids have. They don't know any better. And besides that, if you didn't think you were doing anything wrong, you would be telling the parents. We're
not
going to
doing
give your
anything
child
wrong.
an Easter enema. Whoopee.
Well, we do this for their health.
I think you're the one that gets some kind of sexual arousement out of it, you and your wife.
You know, it's funny how everybody goes to sex. It's got nothing to do with sex.
Well, then what would you call it?
Well, let me ask
Touching
you
a
something.
child's
If it
private
was-
area? People go to prison for things that
We're
you're
not
doing.
touching. No, we don't. Sometimes the kids give each other enemas. It's
That's
a family.
lovely.
It's a family atmosphere. I don't understand.
The kids are giving each other enemas?
If they've done it before, if they've been to our camp before, yeah.
Well, what's the
But
name
you
of your
see-
camp?
I beg your pardon?
What is the name of your camp?
It's called the Northern California Easter and Spring Solstice Easter Egg Hunt and Easter Egg Roll.
Well, you know what?
You know,
and your
Denise,
wife.
I can tell by the sound of your voice that you are very tight. You probably don't drink enough water. I don't want you to take offense to this, but you would probably benefit from an enema, one that is a cleansing one, and that gets all the toxins out.
I think your mind needs to be cleansed, actually.
What is dirty about an enema? Cleans out the lower colon.
You know what?
And your colon sounds like it's probably jammed full of a lot of toxin.
Yeah, well, your mind is.
Well, then I guess I'll give myself a mental enema. I tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. I'll give myself a mental enema.
I don't deal with sickos like you.
If you
You're
go
a
ahead and put a
pervert.
hose up there, I'm a pervert. Why?
To touch children like that and tell them, you know, we're going to give you you fill them full of candy and then you give them enemas.
Well, we're getting all those. The kids
And then
are
I
gonna
can hear
eat.
you snickering in the background.
No,
I mean, is this some kind of joke or
no,
what?
I was laughing at the idea that people just don't understand
No,
the
you are
concept.
touching children where you're not supposed to touch them and
We
telling
tell
them
the
not to
kids-
tell their parents. You think that's right? Apparently. Do you think it's morally right?
Denise,
No, I want you to answer me and quit giving me your
do I think it's
runaround
morally?
with your...
What's your question?
I just told you. Do you think it's right, morally right, to touch a child and then go tell a child, you know, like a child being molested, okay, we're going to do this in fun, but don't you tell nobody. You're doing the same thing.
I don't understand.
You don't understand.
No, what is...
You don't get what the lady's saying?
No, sir, I don't. Could you rephrase it?
What you're saying, you do it in fun. The children have fun.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, we
Yes.
got that in agreement, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then you say, you know, about if they do tell, I mean, you're doing it in fun. Oh, we're going to do
That is
something
correct.
fun.
You see,
you're going to eat all kinds of
you
candy.
agree with me. That's why
Wait
you're having
a minute,
a hard
I'm
time.
trying to explain it to you.
You're having a hard time because you agree with me.
No, I don't agree with you. If you'd listen for a minute.
Why can't you formulate your question?
Just listen to the lady.
All right.
What you're saying is you're no different than a molester. A molester touching
I really
children.
resent that.
Hold
Denise.
on, let me finish,
You know what I tell the
please.
kids? It sounds like there's an adult with a little Hershey's in her fridge. You know what that means? Denise, you got some Hershey's in your fridge.
Yeah.
You do. You've got a lot of poison. Because I'm not making, your rear end is so full of toxin that it
Would you let the lady finish her question?
Yes, please. If he wants me to explain it, and then he
Go
keeps
ahead.
interrupting me.
Go ahead, but you got some.
What you're saying
Your fudge is packed.
you're making it fun for these kids. Well, guess what? We're gonna do this. We're gonna have an enema, and you're gonna have this and that. And
Right.
but don't tell nobody because it's all in fun. And if you tell anybody, the Easter Bunny's gonna suck the blood out of you.
Well, if it
You're
wasn't-
no different than a child molester, a child being molested by a man or
see
a
how
woman.
confused you are? You don't even know what you're saying.
Oh,
I
yes,
know what
do.
she's saying. I understand what she's saying. The
You're
concern.
making light of the
What is she
situation
saying?
so the
I'm not
kids
making-
don't go and tell their parents.
If the kids are having a blast, giving each other enemas and making fart noises.
If a kid goes out and shoots someone and has a blast about it, do you think that's right?
We're not killing anybody. We're getting all the toxins out of their
Yeah, you're
the
killing more
butt
than what
area.
you think. You're screwing with kids' minds. And you know exactly
Denise,
what you're
I
doing.
recommend you get a bottle of Hershey's chocolate. You warm it up.
Yeah, I got your
And
Hershey's
squirt it up
chocolate
the,
for you.
All right, thank you. 1-800-449-8686. 1-800-449-8686. Dean Wheeler giving children Easter enemas on the Phil Hendrie Show.
You can demonstrate later on if you want.
I don't know that I want you demonstrating your wife giving you an enema on the air just because you do that to kids at Easter. 1-800-449.
Well, I really resent any implication that there's something wrong with a good, clean, healthy enema that dispels all the toxins from the colon.
1-800-449-8686. Nick, you're on the Phil Hendrie Show. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Well, I had a couple of comments to, I believe his name's Dean.
Dean Wheeler, yes, sir.
Well, what I was wondering, I'm sure enemas have a weight loss effect, too. Because you flush out anything that could be absorbed by the system, and I don't believe that everyone should be giving you this much buzz about it. It's beneficial.
Absolutely is beneficial, and so many people who have had enemas actually absolutely report the beneficial aspect.
What is that I'm hearing?
Becky is giving me one.
You said that you wouldn't demonstrate this on the air, sir. Vanessa, go ahead. You're on the Phil Hendrie Show. Vanessa?
Yeah.
Go ahead, ma'am. You're on the air.
Okay, I think it's very appalling. You don't give someone else's child an enema. He's a molester, out and out. And he needs to be brought up on charges, and you need to be in jail, you and your wife.
I'm not molesting them. I'm giving them an enema.
Yes, you are.
That's
when
a
you
medical
touch
procedure.
a child somewhere that they're not supposed to be touching, you are not their parent. That is molesting. And
but
you and your wife are child molesters.
I'm wearing a rabbit outfit.
And I really hope that some child's parent comes forth and brings charges against you and your wife.
You think because you wear a bunny rabbit outfit that it's not molestation?
No, sir, it's not.
It is.
What? I'm wearing a rabbit costume?
I don't care if you... I don't care if you're in a Santa Claus suit, because that is molestation.
How do you figure that when we are cleaning
when
the
you are
toxins
inappropriately touching a child that is not yours?
Are you getting an enema now?
Yes, I am.
And are you wearing the Peter Cottontail outfit now?
Yes, sir, I am. I'm trying to demonstrate to you and Vanessa that
you don't need to demonstrate to me. I know what an enema is.
You do.
And I know what a pervert is, and you are one.
Well, ma'am, I don't get the connection. All I'm saying is Easter is
apparently the enemas you're getting are doing something to your brain. It's washing brain cells out also.
Ma'am, you know that Easter is a time for new birth. Easter is the time that Jesus resurrected from being dead. All right? It's a cleansing.
You are a freak and a pervert and a child molester.
We say Jesus has risen.
Enemas has nothing.
Have what? I'm sorry.
Have nothing to do with Jesus.
Well, they have nothing to do with Jesus.
No.
So Jesus couldn't have had an enema? Oh, I get it. You're saying that if Jesus would have had an enema, he wouldn't be the Son of God. Is that it?
No, I'm not saying that.
Well, then what are you
your
saying?
assimilation is all wrong. But your mind is messed up.
Will you stop with those enemas?
How do I expect you to act any different or say anything different? You are a child molester, so therefore you have a messed up mind anyway.
Will you stop getting an enema?
All right, Becky, stop. What are the two of you saying?
You heard what we said. You heard what this lady said.
You are a child molester that needs to be brought up on charges, you and your wife, and put in jail. Because what you're doing is inappropriate. And I really hope some child has the strength enough to tell his parents so they can file charges on you and your wife.
Wait, so you
and
don't
have your
see...
children taken away from you if that's what you're doing to them.
All right. I asked you to consider this. The angels moved the boulder from the tomb. Becky and I move, the doo-doo from the butt. And
oh, I see. So that's how it has a connection to Easter.
Yeah.
No connection.
Go ahead, Becky, start in again.
Will you knock it off with that? All right, Vanessa, thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
I appreciate your call. Turn the music off, too.
I like the Easter music.
Turn it off. Here is John. You're on the Phil Hendrie Show. Go ahead, John.
Did you say Joan?
Oh, Joan. I'm terribly sorry.
Okay.
Joan, go right ahead.
Mr. Wheeler?
Yes, ma'am. This is Dean Wheeler.
You're not only dangerous, but you're stupid.
I'm sorry?
I'm going to tell you why. There are 2 points I want to make.
Yes, ma'am.
Number one, you're setting these children up for molesters.
I can't hear you, dear. Could you speak up?
Just a second. I'll change phone.
Okay, that's good. Go ahead, Becky. Okay.
You're setting children up for molesters. That's number one. Number two, you don't give children enemas because if you give enough of them, you're going to destroy the tone of their colon. And then they will not be able to go to the bathroom.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a valid point. Is your, and I don't know how old you are, you sound good. Is your colon toned well, or
I'm fine. I'm 75 and I've survived.
Are you regular?
I have never heard of anything so despicable as what you're doing, and then you hide behind Jesus. That's the thing that really
Well, no, we try to tie in the enema with the rolling of the rock away from the tomb. Look, if the worst thing that a kid gets is a loose sphincter, then what? Come on. What's the harm?
Come
Look,
on.
the Joan just made the point. These are young children whose bodies are still developing.
We're not forcing them. We're saying, come on, everybody, it's time to blow those old Hershey's out.
Do these parents know anything about what you're doing?
I'm going to
And
ask.
I don't think you're very funny either. You're
Yeah,
damn rude.
your wife can stop now.
Stop, Becky. They don't think it's funny. Do the parents know?
Yeah.
Well, of course they don't, because the Easter Bunny will suck the blood out of the kids.
That's criminal. Don't you understand what you're doing?
Look, you're making a good point about the loose colon thing.
And let me tell you something else.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning, you're in California, right?
Are you going to call the police on me?
No, I'm going to call the California Medical Society and get some pediatricians after you.
Well, they don't exist.
It's the California Medical Association.
Oh, you had to go and tell her.
Yes.
They don't?
Not society,
Well,
association.
then, how about trying
Right.
the FBI?
Well, that's in
Child
Washington.
molesting.
I think you've got a point here, Joan. Dean, I realize you think what you're doing is healthy.
Well, she got me to thinking about that loose colon thing.
Let me tell you, I'm a nurse.
You know a lot about that.
My
huh?
husband is a doctor, retired. We're both retired. I had grandparents, 75, who that whole generation went in for high colonics.
Yeah, they all had
And
loose
let me
colons.
tell you, all four of them died of colon cancer.
You can die from a lazy colon. I understand that.
And why do you get a
Well-
lazy colon? Because you use enemas. You're introducing something to these children
Is this
that
Gloria
they
Swanson?
shouldn't
I just
have,
wanted to...
Okay.
unless they're sick.
You know, in many ways, I think that we are...
David Hall. David Hall, hello.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am, this is David Hall.
yes. I really have a problem with your show tonight. It is just
Whose show?
the radio station show tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Is that Phil Hendrie?
Yes, it is.
What's he doing?
You don't know?
No, ma'am, I don't. I'm working. I'm going over different reports and focus
You're not
groups.
listening to the show?
I don't listen to the station. I will turn it on now.
It's
if you can...
yeah, well, maybe you better. It's about giving kids enemas.
Oh, it's a health show?
No, it's a sex show.
A sex
And I
show?
think it's a joke, and people
Well,
are
do you
really
think that
getting
enemas-
upset about it.
I'm having an enema right now.
See, I knew it was a joke.
Well, all right.
So it is, I mean...
So do we
So
win
it
a
is
prize?
joke.
I'm Phil Hendrie. I do the voices of the characters on my show, the voice of David Hall and the voice of Dean Wheeler. And no, nobody's giving kids enemas that we know of. 1-800-449-8686. I am Phil Hendrie. This is the Phil Hendrie Show.
Now, Phil Hendrie, 1-800-449-8686.
We reported the news earlier that Milton Berle has passed on. Milton Berle, the great comic, died today at the age of 93. He died in Los Angeles after a lengthy illness. And you may not know, and if you didn't know, maybe it's information you don't need, but it is somewhat of a bit of apocryphal and interesting news that, perhaps it's apocryphal, perhaps it's true, I don't know, that Milton Berle's penis was very large. I won't go into specifics. I don't know, and frankly, what good is the speculation? But that seemed to be on the minds of a lot of people in recent years in show business as we become much more attuned to these kinds of things, that he had a very large penis. And people ask, what is it like to have one that big? And I say, well, I know for me, it's just, you live with it. You live with the jokes. I've had to, for years, live with the jokes about mine, but and it's uncomfortable moving it from, side to side. So I would say that I can't speak for Uncle Mildy, but for me, having one that big it's been fun. It's been a good life. Yes, women don't leave you alone, but there's more to life than just non-stop sex. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I can tell you. All right, I'm kidding. Anyway, 1-800-449-8686. Guys are really fascinated with that whole size issue, myself included, because you get conflicting reports. Women will tell you that size doesn't matter. Women will tell you that size does matter. Some women will tell you that that's normal. Other women will tell you it's a little too big. Some women will say that you're huge. Some women will say that you're average. Some women, in Craig's case, will say that he's unusually small. And in other cases, and you never get the straight scoop. And the reason why we never get the straight scoop, because there is no straight scoop, right? It just isn't that right, honey? Guys are running around since the beginning of time trying to get the approval of women. Do we make enough money? Are we good-looking enough? Do we drive a big enough car? And on top of all of that, if we can't give ourselves a heart attack, if we can't drive ourselves to an early grave, not making enough money, not having a big enough house, not having a nice enough car, how about things we can do absolutely nothing about, which is the size of our penis? Now, Craig says that the average is 5 to 6 inches. Yeah, okay. Anyway, you read it last night where? At the little computer machine? It's called a search engine, man, and you were on a porn site. At the little computer machine. I read it last night at the little computer machine. 98686 is the Phil Hendrie Show. In a moment, we're going to mention the situation at Burger King. Burger King has said it will make its suppliers follow guidelines for humane animal treatment. Apparently, there have been some criticisms about the way animals are being slaughtered and some of the meat served at Burger King. Ted Bell from Ted's of Beverly Hills is going to join us and talk to us about the kind of meat that they sell at their restaurant and how animals are treated in that process. But first, we want to tell you we've raised $125,739.50 for My Friend's Place, a resource center for homeless and runaway kids in Hollywood. And if you'd like to help them, you can call 877-616-PHIL and buy a stinking CD. We appreciate all of you guys who come through for us. You guys that listen to this program with absolutely no charge, no gun held to your head. How about buying a CD? How about a little $20 donation to the fine people of My Friend's Place? You'll be glad you did. Ted Bell is on the line from Beverly Hills. I know it's kind of a busy, getting ready for a busy weekend for you, Ted. Did I call you Tid or Ted?
That sounded like Ted DeVee, Phil.
Okay. I know it's a busy week for you, getting ready for a even busier weekend because it's the first weekend after daylight savings.
Yeah, we seem to, and I don't know why it is, we seem to get an upswing in business. I guess it's because the sun it stays brighter later, and people are more apt to go out to dinner.
Okay, tell me about this situation at Burger King, and then tell me about your restaurant. Officials for the Miami-based company called said it will abide by the American Meat Institute's good management practices for animal handling and stunning.
Well, first of all, that is a voluntary abiding by the guidelines by Burger King. Burger King is located in Miami. I think that's the company you were talking about, Phil.
And they said that they would abide by that?
They said they'd abide by that. A lot of the measures are aimed at goals like making suppliers stun animals before slaughtering them. And I guess the Burger King people said that they always believed in humane treatment of animals. A lot of those officials at Burger King said the announcement was based on recommendations from an expert panel before PETA launched a boycott. And let me comment on this. At my restaurant, we don't back down from threats by PETA. Of all the organizations that you're going to take seriously, Phil, and of all the organizations that you would want to be intimidated by, I think PETA is the last one on my list. There is nothing about that organization that I find even the least bit intimidating. There's nothing about anybody at PETA that would even begin to tell you that they're connected.
All right, well, besides not being intimidated by PETA, you have some fundamental differences with this so-called slaughtering, ethical slaughtering.
I don't think there's any unethical way of slaughtering it. It so happens that we serve a very good product, and the quality of the steak we serve is in direct proportion to the way the animal is ultimately executed, the way the animal is ultimately treated. When you chase and scare an animal before you slaughter it, some people may consider that to be cruel, but the adrenaline pumps through the animal. It actually makes the meat more tender and flavorful. And we have for 25 years never hid this from our customers. And
hid what? That you chase the beef before you slaughter it?
We have for 25 years assured our customers that the beef we use has been chased, scared almost to death, and then slaughtered. Now, our suppliers...
You tell your customers that?
We tell our customers that the beef is high in adrenaline content and therefore is very flavorful and therefore is very tender. And obviously, this comes from a long-honored practice, Phil. This is not something that's new. The time-honored practice of chasing an animal over the open range, scaring it repeatedly, and then slaughtering it. In fact, we are one of the few remaining restaurants that provide steaks from steer that have been guaranteed on a cattle drive, driven across the prairie in a cattle drive. And we're talking about...
Where is the cattle driven? You guys drive the steaks you buy are from steers that have been in a cattle drive?
Generally from the beef growing areas of Texas and Oklahoma, that's correct.
To where?
To the major rail centers. And in the Midwest, that's you're generally talking about Missouri and Kansas. Stunning the cow or executing the cow in a so-called humane fashion really, Phil, destroys the taste, the tenderness, and of course, the danger of infection.
All right, let me talk to you straight here, Ted. We're talking with Ted Bell from Ted's of Beverly Hills, 1-800-449-8686. They have a steakhouse. You have a steakhouse. The steaks that you serve are from animals that have been chased and scared and almost scared to death and then slaughtered.
That's correct.
All right, the question that I have is, I had a question for you. The question that I want to ask you then is this idea of a cattle drive. How I thought, first of all, was no longer in use.
What is the cattle drive?
That's right.
Oh no, they still use they still drive cattle. The cattle drive is still very much a part of how we take a lot of beef to market. Not a lot of restaurants use that meat. Not a lot of PETA and a lot of these people, these ethical animal treatment centers, they try to, they basically have been trying to shut down the cattle drives for a good 35 years. But no, we still purchase our beef from those suppliers that have made sure the steer have been on a cattle drive, have been driven for days until they find water, and then eaten open grassland. And we think that it is a tremendous, flavorful steak, and it comes from a cow that's almost been frightened to death and has been driven hard. And
all right, what about the cruelty? That's what I wanted to ask you. What about the cruelty to the animal aspect to all of this?
Phil, this is not cruelty to an animal. First of all, the cow, the steer, is one of the dumbest animals in nature. Now, this is not a dog. This isn't a cat. This isn't a monkey. It's not a dolphin. It's a cow. It is so stupid, so utterly stupid, that the cow doesn't really realize what's happening to itself. It eats grass. It eliminates waste. It's whipped across the prairie. It gets slaughtered, and then it dies.
All right, but if it doesn't know what's happening to itself, then why does it get scared?
That's purely a physical adrenaline reaction. There is no emotion of fear that a cow feels. So there is no real unethical way to treat a steer and no unethical way to treat a cow. That's why the number one concern that we have in the steakhouse business is that we serve up a flavorful steak. Animals are here to serve us. When the adrenaline is forced through the meat, they're much more tender and juicy. And the human species, the dominant species, this is a conversation that I always have to have with people, a lot of the people who visit the restaurant, because people have this idea that cows are like people, that they feel. Cows lick the inside of their own nostril. That's how stupid they are. This is how stupid they are. And I think that people need to understand this, and they're going to live a lot happier. And by the way, Ted's of Beverly Hills is the only steakhouse that I am aware of in Southern California which uses meat from the stunned cow, or from the non-stunned cow, I should say, the cow that's scared to death. And
well, this is news, obviously, that doesn't fall on the ears of animal activists or the people at PETA or anything else. Glad, or it doesn't fall on their ears with a happy sound. These are people who believe that these animals are treated badly, and that they want them to be stunned.
But a stunned cow, Phil, the other thing is the danger of infection from the stunned cow, because if you eat the meat from a stunned cow, there is, and of course we now know so much about mad cow disease, we now know that people who eat the meat of a stunned cow can take on the stunned trait of the cow. Test scores have dropped, driving skills are lowered. You eat a steak from a stunned cow, you possibly could be driving impaired. And then
You're talking about eating the meat of a stunned cow causing the human who eats that meat to be stunned.
We are right now backing House Bill 35A. It's co-sponsored by a very good friend of mine, Kirk Stafford, which makes it a felony to drive stunned by proxy, and that's basically aimed at a lot of these steakhouses that are serving stunned steaks. So DSBP, you eat a stunned cow steak and you could go to jail. These are the things that we're talking about.
Eat a stunned cow steak.
Because the stunned aspect of the meat does begin to pervade the mind of the recipient. We don't, at Ted's of Beverly Hills, serve any steak from any cow that's been stunned. And that's...
All right, 1-800-449-8686. What were you going to say?
That's just the way we've been doing business for 25 years.
All right, 1-800-449-8686. We're talking to Ted from Ted Bell from Ted's of Beverly Hills. It's a steakhouse. And all of this came about because Burger King was accused of apparently preparing hamburgers from the meat of cows that were inhumanely slaughtered or steer. And apparently he believes, Ted says, that they don't serve a steak in their restaurant that isn't from a cow or steer that hasn't been chased and scared, because apparently the adrenaline makes the meat a lot more tender. The other thing that he is mentioning is the sponsoring of a House bill here in the state of California, which makes eating the meat of a stunned steak or a stunned cow steak illegal, because you could drive impaired. Now, I've never heard of that, and I'd certainly like to see the scientific liturgy or literature on that. That if a cow is stunned and then I eat the steak, I'm suddenly stupid, or I get more stunned or something. Is that what he said? All right, 1-800-449-8686. We'll be back to talk to Ted Bell. Oh, and also, isn't he serving up steak that's from beeves that have been on a cattle drive? That one. 1-800-449-8686. This is the... Okay, turn that off. Turn it off. We don't need the rawhide theme, and I don't want to treat this with any other kind of commentary than the dignity that it deserves, the possible cruelty to animals, or the possibility that cows are too stupid to even know that someone's scaring them. 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendrie Show. One 1-800-449-8686. Welcome to the Phil Hendrie Show. Ted Bell from Ted's of Beverly Hills is on to talk with us. As a restaurant owner, Ted, you understand that you have a lot of competitors. Now, Burger King says that they're going to abide by the humane treatment of animals or how they're slaughtered. Or...
You know, this is all, Phil, a lot of it is public relations, and Burger King doesn't want the bad PR.
Well, okay, but Burger King wants to use meat from animals that have been humanely slaughtered. You say an animal that's humanely slaughtered is not as flavorful as one that has been chased, scared.
Well, I'll put it to you simply: the most flavorful and tender meat comes from the steer or cow that has been scared to death. Now, on Survivor...
Scared to death.
That is correct. If you can chase a cow and just scare the hell out of it, you have got one of the porterhouse, tender as a mother's heart. The pig on Survivor. Do you remember the pig on Survivor?
Yeah, the one that they stabbed. And they scared that one.
They scared... probably the best pork chops came out of that pig. Scared the crap out of that pig. And I'll tell you right now, that's a pork chop. It's a shame to see them bow to the animal extremists, is all I'm saying. So I guess if you want some good meat, you need to come to my place.
1-800-449-8686. LB on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
I wouldn't be caught dead in your place. I mean, animals
you don't
feel
want a good
pain.
steak, you don't want a good steak.
Hey, let me say listen, I've had plenty of good steaks. I'm a meat eater, and I'll tell you something. Animals should be treated humanely. They feel pain. They have central nervous systems, and they do feel pain.
But they
Just because they're
don't
stupid.
register the information the same way. They don't think if somebody's being cruel to me. It's just pain. Okay?
It's pain.
Yeah, it's not. There's no intelligence that connects the pain to anything other than, that's painful.
Well, I don't think it's right. It's very wrong to do that.
Look at. You want to bow to the animal extremists. That's your
There's
business.
no extremists. There's not people who are extreme. I'm not extreme. I eat animals all the time.
Okay.
But I want the meat to be humanely treated.
Well,
I want animals to be
do you want a good
treated.
steak or do you not? Do you want a good steak or do you not?
No, not if it's that's the price I have to pay.
When you've had a steak from an animal that's been chased and screwed with and then killed.
What do you mean screwed with?
You're listening to yourself talk about how stunned. If I eat a steak that's been from a cow that's been stunned and it was processed a month ago, whatever it was, that I'm going to drive erratically or something. Your argument. At least get a decent argument. Get an argument that people will believe. Okay.
I happen to have an argument based upon House Bill 34A, which is sponsored by State Senator Kirk Stafford.
Oh, and I'm sure you're paying him off plenty to do this. All the laws that get passed are passed by politicians who are in your pocket. And the pockets of people who are in the industry.
What I'm saying is that animal that has been stunned, you're telling me you willingly eat the meat of a stunned animal?
Absolutely. I'd rather do that or I'd rather do without.
That explains this conversation then.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, you can't even figure out what I just said.
I think that your argument is ludicrous.
I
think that anybody who believes this is an idiot.
How do you scare an animal to death?
There are a number of ways. Are you a cop?
Am I a cop? No.
Yeah. What is that radio I hear?
No, that was about. I thought I was off the air.
What? You got a radio in there?
He's probably a truck driver, LB.
No, I'm in the clothing business.
We scare a cow to death by putting a bed sheet over another cow's. You can do the cow ghost thing. There's a lot of things you can do. Okay.
Hey, listen, we can agree to disagree. I think it's a wrong thing to do.
Well, if you don't think the cow ghost thing, but I will tell you this much. That if you continue to eat the meat from a stunned cow, you are running the risk of just getting dumber and dumber as the days go by.
Yeah, that's the risk I'm willing to take. I mean, this is pretty scientific stuff you've come up with. Some politician wants a law because you're paying him money, and then you're going to get. I mean, come on, give me a break.
Pull over and relinquish. All right, fine. But what I'm saying to you, mark my words.
I eat the meat of a stunned cow, and the stunnedness rubs off on me.
Yes.
I think it already did. Maybe it's true.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it's true then. And if it's true for me, it's true for you, LV.
All right, sir. Thank you for your call. 1-800-449-8686. What do you mean you put a sheet over another cow with whole eyes? The eyes. What do you mean cow ghost? I don't understand.
You're asking me about how the animals are scared, and you can do it a variety of ways.
All right. 1-800-449-8686. Joanna on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello. Yes.
I like to totally disagree with the whole fact about eating a stunned cow will make you stunned and stupid.
Well, let me ask you something, Joanna, and I think I already know the answer to this. Do you eat the meat of a stunned cow?
I don't think I care whether the meat was stunned or scared. I don't think that I'm going to be stunned, and I don't think that I'm going to be scared from eating the meat of a scared cow.
You don't feel stunned?
No, I don't feel stunned. Do you think I'm going to feel scared from eating the meat from a scared cow then?
No, I do not.
1-800-449-8686. Here is Jerry on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
How's it going?
Yes, sir.
First point, the fact that the meat tastes better when there's adrenaline flowing through the body, that is simply ludicrous. I've eaten beef.
Wait a minute. Before I start getting opinions from all kinds of people, how do you know?
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you, but see, first of all, I would appreciate if you to respect my
That's fine. I just want to make the point, though, Phil, that I have before me House Bill 35A, co-sponsored by...
We got that. Kirk Stafford, I understand that.
Okay, anyway, first of all, my family comes from a long line of cattle raisers here in Texas. I have eaten cattle.
Great cattle.
I have eaten cattle that has been scared before it was slaughtered. And then I've eaten cattle that was slaughtered before it ever even knew what hit it.
Which cow do you? How do you know it was scared? How do you know?
And I was raised around it. I've been there. So
you saw it actively scared.
I've been there at the time of slaughter, and I'm gonna tell you what makes more of a difference in what that meat tastes like is what that cow was fed and how that cow was taken care of prior to the slaughter,
Well, Jerry,
and how the meat was prepared,
Jerry, that
rather than the fact that the adrenaline, was flowing through the body so much that it caused the animal to.
Well, Jerry, I appreciate your experience as a breeder or as a grower of cattle. You have to appreciate my experience as a restaurant owner. As the purveyor of the steak, and I can tell you, you can sneak up behind a cow, scare hell out of it, and you've got yourself the best tasting steak that money can buy.
And if you believe that, you are an imbecile.
Jerry, I didn't insult you. Why do you feel the need to insult me?
Well, what about this? What about this stunned to death thing, or the fact that the stunnedness will wear off?
That's a load of mess. First of all, I don't think. First of all, what I would like to know, I'd like to ask you a question, really.
Yes, sir.
And that's what sources would you cite as getting the scientific evidence that eating meat from a stunted cow causes?
First of all, you're going to look at a couple of reports out of the University of California, Chico. As I said to Mr. Hendrie, and he keeps trying to cut me off, I have State Senator Stafford's bill.
I'm not trying to cut you off. You've been referring to State Senator Stafford's bill for the last half hour.
Wherein, well, you may find it funny, wherein he describes the deleterious effects of eating stunned meat by proxy, which is DSPP, and that we're trying to keep these people off the road. You come to Ted's of Beverly Hills, and you're not going to eat any stunned meat. You're going to eat meat from a cow that got the Christ scared out of it. And I can tell you right now, you chase a cow down dressed as Lauren Green from Bonanza, a cow's going to recognize the strength, crap its pants, and it's dead.
Yeah, I respect that you have your opinion, and that's fine. But I just think it's ludicrous.
You really sound like you respect me. I don't think you respect me at all, and it hurts.
No, I respect your opinion.
No, I think it hurts. It hurts a great deal.
All right. Gee, that's too bad. 1-800-449...
Now that hurts.
Okay, 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendrie Show.
A lot of fun.
Okay, 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendrie Show. Ted's of Beverly Hills Steakhouse is in Beverly Hills, California. They use only the meat from cows that have been scared to death or have been scared really good before they're slaughtered, not stunned, because you say it's not as tasty. And you're also saying that eating the meat from a stunned cow will cause the recipient to take on the stunned effects. And
Absolutely. Because what happens, Phil, is a lot of neurotransmitters are released into the system, and this is stuff that a lot of your listeners don't understand, so they're not in any position to tell me, biochemically whether I'm right or not.
Well, you're not a doctor, so you can't tell me that because I go out and eat steak from a cow that got stunned that I'm suddenly going to have a lower test score. You said...
Well, go ahead. Eat a cow. Eat steak from a stunned cow. Go to Ruth's Chris. Go to some of these places where they so-called have meat from animals that were slaughtered humanely, and you'll walk out of there so stupid. You'll walk out of there, and there's a good chance you'll walk out of there dumber than the cow you ate. Now think of that. That's why Kirk Stafford, a state senator, is co-sponsoring this bill. That's why we support it. And that's why in Southern California, the only place to eat a steak is Ted's of Beverly Hills, where the animal is chased, scared almost to death, and then slaughtered.
All right, 1-800-449-8686. Mike on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hello?
Mike, yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. First of all, I'm not going to insult your caller.
Thank you, sir.
Just going to tell you.
I appreciate that very much.
First, I was raised on a ranch. And raised Angus.
You were raised on Angus.
We were raised Angus cows.
You were raised as Angus cows? I don't know.
They raised Angus cows.
Yes.
All right, sir.
The best steaks come from certified Angus cows. Second, your cattle-derived theory will drive a person out of business.
How did you scare a cow
Because you're going to drive the meat right off of them and make them hard.
That's what I was thinking.
No. What you're doing is you're scaring the cow.
All that muscle is.
You're scaring the cow. How did you scare a cow before the slaughter? By the way,
I went all the way from when they were shooting them to the darts, and now the stuns.
But you scared them first, didn't you?
At the present time,
Okay.
I own 12 steakhouses.
And you were raised as an Angus cow.
And the only thing I serve
That's what I don't
is
get.
Black Angus.
All right. How are they scared? Hello, Mike? Mike? Okay, see, Mike was raised as an Angus cow, number one. And number two, Mike eats stunned beef. And that's what I'm talking about. He could be stupider than the cow that he ate. And
I know, I got that already. I think the man's, what happened was his car phone went out. Here is Fred on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, you're basically making the same point that other guy made. Here is Judy on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello. Judy.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, this gentleman, Ted, I think he's preposterous for saying such things. I mean,
well,
how...
Can I ask your qualifications before you begin to characterize my opinions?
Yes. I'm a businesswoman of 22 years in my own legal practice.
Have you ever been involved in the scaring and subsequent slaughter of Black Angus?
As of scaring, no. My father does own a ranch, though, in Utah.
Right, you did not personally scare a Black Angus?
I've never personally scared a Black Angus. But...
Were you raised also as an Angus cow? Because the last guy...
He didn't say he was raised as an Angus cow. He raised Angus cows.
Go ahead.
I don't see how at all you can even begin to say that this is true.
Well, ma'am, I offered Mr. Hendrie findings from the School of Animal Husbandry at the California State University of Chico.
There's no such thing.
There's no California State University of Chico.
Not for the class that whatever you took.
Well,
There's no art.
Judy, there is an art called Animal Husbandry, so obviously you haven't been around cows or anything. This is Phil Hendrie. I'm the host, so...
Judy, leave the information of the industry to the experts, okay?
Animal husbandry is breeding animals. You've never heard of that? Judy? Okay, so apparently we caught her in being a little dumb. And
there's another person that ate some stunned beef for breakfast.
Okay.
You have got more in it. This is the thing that scares me. You got a 22-year... First of all, she said she was a 22-year-old businesswoman. She sounded like a battle axe at 50. Secondly...
Well, wait a second, man. The lady was making a point that she'd never heard about the whole, eating the meat of a stunned animal. And so, therefore, she...
Therefore, she goes ahead and eats the meat of a stunned animal, calls your show, and sounds stunned. What we are asking is for people to pick up the phone, call State Senator Kirk Stafford. Let's get House Bill 35A on its way, because if you got people out there eating stunned beef, they're going to be driving around under the influence of a stunned cow, and we can't have that. And scaring the animal is the only way. And I'm telling you now, if you can get a sheet, get a costume, anything, a cheetah costume, scare a cow, and save this state from the ultimate embarrassment of people driving around with a stunned cow sitting shotgun, almost with a stunned cow sitting shotgun and a gun to your head.
All right, Ted Bell from Ted's of Beverly Hills, we appreciate your phone call, and of course, no, we will not call Kirk Stafford. 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendrie Show. Phil Hendrie Show here. Stunned cows, huh? All right. I got to tell you, just if you folks will forgive me, Mike, what are you doing to me over here? Booking this guy from Ted's of Beverly Hills is going to it's going to put me on a cattle drive. And then I've got a guy calling up and saying that he was raised as an Angus cow. He didn't raise Angus cows. His parents put a little Angus suit on him and raised him as an Angus cow, because they thought that would somehow ready him for the world. Somehow being raised as a dairy cow gets you set for the tribulations and pitfalls of life. I don't agree. And that's putting it mildly. Well, today we wrapped up the little experience that I've been having over the last couple of days. I told you that I've been a part of... Oh, you're saying that last caller wore his older brother's hand-me-down Angus suit? Thank you for that, Melissa. I didn't know. I today wrapped up that little experience I've been having shooting that TV pilot, and I just wanted to tell you my further adventures there on the set with some really nice people. It's just, I cannot overstate how truly fun it's been. It's been the very first time I've ever stepped in front of a television camera, and I've had a blast, and we'll
on Coast to Coast PM from the Premier Radio Networks.
Phil Hendrie Show, 1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686. We're going to, in just a second, want to talk about fashion and the people who have actually thrown their hat into the ring. Chris Norton of Hermosa Beach is a young marketing executive who is throwing his hat into the fashion ring. He's developed a line of clothing that helps women get undressed quicker. And let's get Chris on the line here to talk about this from his office in Hermosa Beach. Good afternoon, Chris.
Good afternoon, Phil. How are you?
Real good. So this line of clothing came about, and this is designed to help women get their clothes off faster. How?
Well, first of all, it's summertime in Southern California, and for all your listeners across the United States, I just want to say it's beautiful to be talking to people in America in the summer of great times in America, but there's no place to be like California in the summertime. And I think more or less, Phil, that women need to be educated that men are not interested in seeing, these striptease acts that we've been seeing for a lot of the years. We've all seen 9.5.
Are you talking about sexually?
Yeah, I think in the intimate relations between women and men, women have all believed, I guess, and maybe they were led to believe by men, that what we wanted to see was a slow kind of striptease act, that we wanted to see women slowly remove their clothes like in 9.5 weeks. And I got to tell you something. I think it's time to sort of disabuse women of that notion that what men want is, we know that the women want it and that we want it too. And
well, what do you mean? So that women have in the past, in our intimate lives, in our intimate behavior with our wives and girlfriends, we've what? There's been. I have to see. I've been married 3 years. Nobody's ever done a striptease for me, but
well, what I'm saying is there is an attitude that's slowly removing the clothes, and that women, a lot of women.
Well, this is something women will do for their boyfriends and for their husbands.
Yeah, I think a lot of women think that their husbands and their boyfriends dig it. They dig watching them slowly take their clothes off or whatever. And I mean, we've been watching them do their little strip act, and I think it's time for us to tell them that what you got. Basically, they got better down at Jumbo's or Deja Vu or Spearmint Rhino or something. I mean, it's not that.
Well, isn't that a bit of a put down on women and their looks?
Well, I mean,
when you're saying what you got, honey, they got better down at Spearmint Rhino or Deja Vu, kind of tells a woman she doesn't look that good, doesn't it?
No, because I mean, we're talking about the women that we, that I guess supposedly you love or that you care about, or I guess she looks better if you love her or something, right?
I'm sorry?
Well, that's the thinking, right? That a woman...
Yeah, a woman is beautiful when you love her, right. But, I mean, what you're saying is...
well, what I'm saying is, I think we need to educate women that their little strip shows, it's over, okay? And
all right, so what do you got? You've got hotwear. Now, I've got a...
we have hotwear.
Okay, I've got a brochure, Chris Norton's Hotwear, a line of clothing that helps women get undressed quicker when they meet a hot guy at a club or an evening out.
Right, Phil. I think women... They're doing the sexy striptease, and I think women really need to get the message that men don't want a slow striptease. They want to get busy, and they want it hot, and they want it now. The year 2000, Phil, is the year that women are going to be liberated enough to say they want it, and they want it now. I'm very sensitive to the needs of women because through my many dealings with women, I realize they want to get down to it just as fast as men's do. And but society has put negative stigma on dressing sassy. That's why we have come out with hotwear.
Chris, are you reading a press release here?
I've got some notes, if that's okay.
Okay, I didn't know whether you were reading something. Go ahead.
But Phil, that's why we've come out with hotwear. With hotwear, a woman can get naked quickly, much quicker than now. The hotwear catalog has, and I think we sent you one, Phil.
All right, what I'm looking at here, tight skirts. It's impossible to wear It's impossible to wear anything underneath this skirt.
Yeah, this is called our bun hugger. This is a very standard bun hugger skirt. It is so tight you can't get nothing on underneath it. So it's perfect for a woman that want to look hot, and also she doesn't have to have no underwear to take off underneath it because you couldn't possibly get. And
I'm looking at this thing. What would happen if a woman actually tried to put underwear on and then put this skirt over it?
She'd never get the skirt. Would split. It would literally split because that's a latex rubber combination. And so she'd never even.
So you guarantee a woman can't possibly wear underwear with this skirt?
That's our guarantee, from me to you. And also you'd see panty lines, which are not sexy at all. We have a line of Velcro breakaway capri pants. We also have Velcro breakaway halter tops. We have a complete line of Velcro breakaway business suits for women. And
all right, now that's interesting, business suits.
Yeah, it really is, Phil. What we've been able to determine in our marketing research is that a lot of women who are out in the workforce, there are more women in the workforce today than ever before, Phil. Women have broken through the glass ceiling, and a lot of them are out in the workplace, and they may go into a place of business, and they may meet a man who they want to do a sales seminar for, or they want to sit down and talk business, and they may get really hot for the guy, and they may want to do it right there on the top of a conference table. So what we've designed are Velcro breakaway business suits.
Do you think there's a need for this kind of thing, Chris? I mean, Velcro breakaway business suits?
I think you'd be surprised to know there's a lot of women who want it, even in the middle of the daytime when they're out, doing business. And just in case the sassy lawyer chick takes the mail boy in the broom closet or something. I mean, I'm kidding, but I mean, you never know, I mean, that's probably the mail boy's dream, But I think a lot of the great things about women in business suits is they all look demure and polite at work with the glasses and whatnot. But underneath that, they can be very whore-like, and I think that's very sassy for a guy who's working in the office, whether it's the mailroom or whether you clean up in the bathroom or whatever, and a chick lawyer comes in,
A chick lawyer comes in. All right. Then you have...
I mean, it's not for everybody, but it's definitely something that we think a large portion of the marketplace will be interested in.
All right. Now you have Velcro breakaway maternity dresses, and...
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many guys find that hot. I mean... believe it or not, there are some guys, not a lot of them, but there are some guys who find pregnant women actually attractive, and it blows my mind. But I mean, I can't believe it. But
well, I can see how some guys would find pregnant women attractive. It's a very beautiful. Well, I can't describe it. If you don't know what it's, if you don't find that attractive, I don't know what to tell you. But there's something very fertile. There's something sexual about fertility, about being fertile. And I think that's probably what it is.
Well, I mean, I do know because I've been single for a long time, so I've had pregnant women come on to me that the hormones are flowing in the women's like crazy when they have a kid. I mean, when they have one in the oven, but they're not ready to have it. Also, we have Velcro breakaway brassieres that close in front. We have panties, so you don't have to wear. We got pasties, so you don't have to wear a bra.
What about panties? You just mentioned those?
Well, I mean, what's the point, But if you have to wear panties, we do have a line of crotchless panties.
All right, we're talking to Chris Norton here. His company's called Hotwear, and essentially the thinking being that women are more liberated today, so they don't have to do the slow striptease. They want to get their clothes off fast. Hotwear is a line of clothing designed to help women get undressed quicker. Our number, 1-800-449-8686. That's 1-800-449-8686. I asked you about underwear, and you said, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, because we do have, I don't see the point for having no panties on, I mean, because that just slows you down. But we do have crotchless panties. It's basically a band around your waist because it's assless as well as crotchless. Women need to reach the point now as well as men that the lie of slow arousal has been exposed. And no one cares anymore about that. We don't, I don't think we're interested in that no more. And I go down to the Rusty Pelican all the time, and the women's are all kind of confused. They're there to get picked up, and they know they want it. But why else would you go there unless you wanted it? And yet they're all dressed like Amish women, So I think that men have biological needs, and And you know, that's the whole.
But we don't need the slow striptease, you're saying?
No, because men do have the biological needs. And when I go down to the Rusty Pelican all the time, and the women's are down there because they want it.
But what do you mean women are dressed like Amish? I mean...
well, there's a lot of women are covered up too much. And I'm just saying that this new breakaway clothing helps women get out of their clothes faster and get down to it with men, what they find attractive.
All right, Chris Norton with us. Our number, 1-800-449-8686. His company is called Hotwear, a line of clothing to help women get out of their clothes faster. 1-800-449-8686 is our number. It's Phil Hendrie Show. Hendrie Show, 1-800-449-8686. Chris Norton is the owner of a small business called Hotwear, and it's basically about women getting undressed quickly so that they can have sex and they don't have to be slaves to the striptease. You say that in your brochure. What do you mean by slaves to the striptease, Chris?
That's something that's kind of a favorite phrase of mine, because I think women's have felt like they got to do a slow arousal dance for their men, that they got to wear lingerie or they got to wear slow clothes to take off slow, and they think that arouses their men. And I'm telling them that they don't have to be slaves to that whole arousal thing no more, because men want to have it and women want to have it, and why not just be honest enough with each other to say that we want to have it. You know,
that we want to have it, yeah.
That we want to get it. And so with Hotwear, you can get your clothes off fast. You can do it when you want to do it, and you can enjoy the liberation of doing it without having to fool around with taking your clothes off. Taking your clothes off, and the statistics will show that it probably adds a good 30 minutes. I mean, not 30 minutes. It probably adds a good 3 or 4 minutes to the whole. Getting down to it and having sex. And
it just doesn't seem to me, and I could be very wrong, that a lot of people worry about those 3 or 4 minutes. You know?
Yeah, they do, Phil. They do.
Because you guys have done that research?
We have, and it's like the extra 3 or 4 minutes is something that they don't want to have to be involved in.
All right, 1-800-449-8686. Albany on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I called earlier. I was listening to the radio. And just thinking that whatever these products are that he's selling can be used to effectively help troubled marriages at the same time, if they're marketed correctly.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. And I'm not so sure people are worried about the 3 or 4 minutes, because part of the intimacy is the arousal stage as well.
Well, that's wrong, because most people don't want to have to wait for that. Most guys don't.
I don't know where you did your marketing study, but it sounds to me like you did on a bunch of 16 to 18-year-olds.
No, I did it with men. And we found out that most men don't want to have to wait for it. Women do the whole striptease thing because that's a holdover from them being a good girl. Okay? But most women want it, too. I mean, are you married?
Yes, I am.
Okay, then probably most of the time you want to have it, You don't want to have to wait for your wife to take her clothes off.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think the arousal stage leads to more intimacy, a greater experience than
you don't
rip
think
it
that
off
sounds
and let
gay?
it be animals.
You don't think that sounds gay?
Pardon?
You don't think that sounds gay?
I think it sounds gay. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, you're waiting for intimacy and all that stuff.
I don't think that sounds gay.
Well, don't you think
I think it sounds an appreciation for the woman.
What do you mean it sounds gay?
Well, I mean, all this stuff about intimacy and everything. I mean, I'm just talking about wanting to have it.
Well, you're painting people as animalistic, and I don't think people are animalistic. I think people have an appreciation for each other.
I think a lot of women want to have it, and they've been too afraid to say, "Just give it to me," because they're not allowed to. And now with Hotwear, you can tear a woman's clothes off.
With her consent?
I'm sorry?
With her consent?
Right.
Obviously with her. Yeah, obviously with her consent. But I mean, you can get her clothes off, and you don't have to do some gay ass, intimacy thing or.
Well,
you know what I'm saying, man.
You sound more like a chauvinist than most people I've ever talked to. Yeah, let's just get down into it and be the caveman.
Like a chauvinist.
You know?
People are not animalistic. When's the last time you went to a bar?
That's what you're saying.
When's the last time you went to a bar? I mean, people are like all the women in there that I know. They want to get down to it, and they all come in dressed like they're in the Amish religion. And
well, a lot of them have probably just come from work. A lot of them have probably just come from jobs where they're not dressed in flimsy, negligees or anything like that.
Well, I just want to warn the caller not to be too hooked on this intimacy baloney, because most women just otherwise they're going to think you're gay and stuff. You want to have it. Yeah, you want to have it. Women want to have it.
If you live long enough, here's something that you find out: that women do appreciate some intimacy.
It's very true.
Feeling for their
but sometimes there's probably a time and a place. Thank you for your call, sir. A time and a place.
Not a time and a place, whatever, man. I'm talking about when you want to have it, And
yeah, like that's why you've got tearaway business suits for women, so they want to get it on with a mailroom clerk. Here is.
Sometimes they do.
Okay, sometimes they do. I don't know whether I'd hang my hat on a whole business. Miami on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hi.
Yes, ma'am.
How you doing? I just came upon
if women goes to a bar, she wants it fast and hard. Our clothes help women achieve this. That's all.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
I'm one of 8 girls in a family of 10, and I can guarantee. Why is he breathing like that?
What?
I don't know. Intimacy. It's very important, and I mean, a lot of times. I guess you're talking mostly about the minority of those. Sexual encounters.
No, I'm talking about women. I'm talking about women who are interested in having sex and not just being good little girls and trying to pretend like they're Kim Basinger in 9.5 weeks. Let's just call a spade. Because while you're doing your striptease, while you're doing your striptease, I hate to tell you this, but he can go down to Jumbo's Clown Room or Deja Vu and see it from a lot better looking woman. Okay, what we're talking about is
what you said that you didn't want to insult anybody's looks, and
well, I'm not trying to insult anyone's looks, but women like this lady or whoever doing a striptease for a boyfriend, he's probably sitting there going, I saw this at Deja Vu, last week, and she's a lot better looking.
Besides any look-in or whatever's going on, I mean, women most of the time need to have that foreplay and
no, women think they do, but they've
no. But there's been times when you can get right at it. But
women think they do, but they've just been watching the June Cleaver show. Seriously, man, and that's a myth. That's a myth about women wanting it. That what women really want, though, is to get it.
Yeah, you keep saying women want to get it and to have it, and I'm not sure they want to get down and have sex.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And so you developed a whole line of tearaway, breakaway clothing so they can get to it faster. Laguna Niguel on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hi.
Yes, hi.
I got to tell you, this man's name is appropriately Norton.
Women face it. If you're not a stripper, you don't look good taking your clothes off slowly, okay? If you're not a stripper, that's all.
Will you shut your mouth? You've been on for 10 minutes.
No, I'm just saying, if you're not a stripper, you don't look good taking your clothes off.
What do you mean if you're not a stripper, you don't look good taking your clothes off? My wife looks pretty good taking her clothes off.
Yeah, but she's not a pro.
You know something? This guy knows from going to bars and hanging out. He can't speak on behalf of women. He doesn't even know how to say women. He says women's.
Women don't know about the intimacy.
You don't know about
what
women.
Do you know about it? What do you know about it?
I are one, stupid.
Yeah, well, you'll have to convince. You'll have to spend more time convincing me of that.
This man is so funny. I have a friend who legitimately has a multi-million-dollar.
You know what you need to do is buy some of Chris Norton's hotware, okay? And have some guy.
Are you crazy?
Have you ever had a guy tear your clothes off? Have you ever had a guy tear your clothes off?
You know something? I don't want any schmuck
tearing
my clothes
I didn't
off.
say any schmuck. I said a guy you care about. You ever had him tear your clothes off?
If I have a guy I care about, I can get undressed for him.
There you go with your boring striptease. Don't you know you're... Oh, man. He don't want to see... Look, he doesn't want to see you shed your burlap sack, okay?
1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendrie Show. Phil Hendrie Show, 1-800-449-8686. How are you? With me this afternoon, starting our program off, is Chris Norton, the young owner. Chris, I want to find out from you, first of all, how old are you? And I understand you're a telemarketer?
Yes, sir. I'm 28 years old, and I did some telemarketing for a pharmaceutical company in Hermosa Beach.
And what gave you the idea for a line of women's clothing that they could tear off of themselves, or their boyfriends or husbands could tear off of them really fast?
Just because I go to the Rusty Pelican down at Hermosa Beach. I see a lot of really hot-looking women, that I'm really attracted to. And, I've been in a lot of relationships with women, and a lot of them want to do a slow strip tease for you. And I've sat there twirling my car keys and, chewing gum and checking my watch and reading the TV guide while they're trying to, get their clothes off, and they think it's sassy. Okay?
So, in other words, the women that have done strip teases for you, they've been boring?
Yeah, if you find yourself going into the refrigerator to look for a beer while she's taking her clothes off, what I decided to do is to come up with hotwear, which is something that women could strip off fast. Let's get to it. Get down, have sass, and you can get back to the Rusty Pelican or whatever your favorite bar is for another round before it closes, is all I was saying. And I think a lot of people misunderstand. They think that I don't have no morals or nothing. I care about the ones that I care about.
All right. I just, so you're 28 years old, and you've got this line of clothing, and I was just curious how successful things have been so far for you. Here is Palmdale on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hi.
Yes, ma'am. Hi.
First of all, I want to just say this. You sound like a joke, and it sounds like the only people that you want to buy your clothes are trashy women. All the women that have called today, you've trashed.
No, they're calling me. They're calling me low moral. They're saying I don't have no morals.
You're trying to talk over them just like you're doing
no,
over
but they're saying that I don't have no morals. Why would I?
Well, hold on for a minute. Let me just jump in. Chris? What is the point you're trying to make?
Why would I? The women who called up have called me saying I got no morals. So why would I speak nice to them?
All right, go ahead, ma'am.
No isn't a proper English sentence, okay?
Oh, so now it's my English. Okay, so now you want to pick on that.
No,
Anything
I'm
else?
picking on your intelligence in
no,
general.
I'm saying that you could have a hotter time with your husband or your boyfriends or whatever you got if you got your clothes off faster and quit trying to be sassy.
According to you?
Of the research that we've done. Of the research that we've done, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
because you're so ignorant and arrogant that there's no woman that's listening to this radio station today that not only one is going to look at a website, if you even have one, who's going to buy anything that you have. And what is this with the heavy breathing?
I'm sorry. I've got a sinus problem. I'm sorry. What I'm saying to you is, while you're doing some slow striptease, boring your husband to death, you could get your clothes.
How do you know I'm boring my husband to death?
Trust me.
And
Trust me.
No.
Trust me.
Well, what do you mean?
The kind of women that you're talking about right now that you get turned on by apparently are some cheap barflies who want to just quick do you. I hate to tell you, if you got women that want to treat you like that or treat anybody like that, not only do they not have enough respect for themselves because all apparently they're doing is going out in the bar to get laid by you, Mr. King. I don't know where you're coming up with this kind
what
of
I'm
crap.
saying is, I'm saying that women have to face it. Unless you work at Porky's Clown Room, you don't look good doing a striptease, okay? And so, baby, face the facts.
Work at like Porky's Clown Room or Deja Vu and stuff like that.
Face
Maybe
the
they like to do striptease like that, but I got to tell you, all right, they're not great looking.
Hey, I got to say something.
Firelight, they can look fantastic. Bring them out in the light of day, honey. That's how come you never see strippers out at noontime in a grocery store.
Well, what do you look like in a harsh light?
I look fantastic.
Yeah, okay.
And you know what?
Well, you know something? That's fine. If your boyfriend thinks that you look good, then all the better for him.
Standing right here.
Okay, then all the better. If you look great,
He's the one who told me. You know what? You got to call this guy. This guy's an idiot.
If you look great, all the better reason for you to get your clothes off fast and not bore him with your little strip act or whatever. Get those clothes off and get your legs in the air.
Okay,
what we're talking about are guys who are...
Oh, man.
No.
For product, okay?
Yeah.
But what I'm telling you is the way that you're marketing it and the way you're talking to women today, okay, is
They've called me
dead wrong.
stupid. They've called me immoral.
You need to take a class in marketing.
No, they called me immoral.
It's not how you market a product.
Okay, here's my point. If I have a pair of Velcro breakaway capri pants, you would not be interested in that?
Not the way you market. Absolutely not.
What about a Velcro breakaway business suit?
I wouldn't
That's
be
the one that...
interested in anything that you're are trying to sell. Because
Women,
you know what it sounds like to me?
unless
it
you have
sounds like to me like you're selling for just striptease artists in general.
No,
okay? You're
that's
putting
the
down
whole
every
point.
other woman out there.
No, that's the whole
It's not the whole point. You keep talking about, well, you go to a bar, and the last woman caller that called in, you were putting her down tremendously.
No,
okay?
I'm saying unless you got a pole to dance around in your bedroom, you better have some Velcro clothing, okay? Because women love to show off their underneath their panties by sitting on bars.
Women like to show off?
Because I've been around a lot of women.
That's a good question. Okay, all right.
See what I'm saying, Mr. Henry? Every woman is called in to insult me.
All right, hold on. I want to ask a question here, because the lady's question is valid. How do you know what women want?
Because I am very good looking. I've been around a lot of women.
That's a joke.
I am very good looking, and I've been around a lot of women. Okay.
A lot of trashy women. It sounds like the way they're coming off.
Men have biological needs, and if you got your husband sitting there with balls getting bluer than Bozo's nose because you want to do, man, I don't get it.
That's a joke, Paul. I can't believe that you got this guy on the air. Okay.
Yeah, Paul.
Not only is he terribly insulting to men, period. Okay. Everybody out there.
You know, you haven't asked me yet, Chris. I have a wife, and my wife is beautiful, and I can wait for her to get her clothes off.
For how long?
Not very long, but I can...
Yeah, see, even the host knows what I'm talking about, but he's trying to be polite to you because you don't have that fire pole in your bedroom yet.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, thanks a lot for your...
I tell you, a lot of marriages and relationships survived without fire poles in their damn bedroom.
All right, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Yeah, which ones?
Okay, thank you very much for your call. 1-800-449-8686. Santa Rosa on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, hi.
Hi. Hey, so I want to ask Chris, Chris,
hi.
how do you know what women want when your research was only done on men?
No, I did research on women, too. That lady would not let me get an answer out. I have done research on single men and women ages 25 to 44 and on married men and women ages 25 to 44 over a 6-month period of time. What I found out was that the men want the women to just cool it with the Kim Basinger 9.5 weeks, get out of your clothes, get on your back, and let's go. Okay.
And what do the women want?
And the women are sitting there thinking, well, my man wants me to do some strip act, and I'm here to tell you, no, we don't.
Well, it sounds
Well,
like
not
a
all guys-
communication problem.
What?
It sounds like the two of them have a communication problem.
You got that right, and I'm here to tell you what's up.
Yeah, but it seems pretty one-sided on the male's part. You know,
Well,
the women
you know
like
what? Read it and weep. Read it and weep, baby. I didn't make this world, you know. I didn't make
the
this
women
world.
like a little bit more intimacy. It might take a little bit longer to, you know, to get
the
aroused.
women want to sit there and do their, their Gypsy Rose Lee act, and the guys are sitting there checking their watches, okay?
Yeah, well, they both have different biological needs and actually biological clocks, and things function a little bit differently.
Well,
so
I
you're
think
so
that
totally one-sided.
When a guy gets home from work, I think the least you can do for him is get down to it. You know, remember that disco
I mean, it
song?
might not feel good to the women. So what? So
well,
so
it
what's
will
your
feel
point?
good. It will feel good to you if you give it
Well,
a shot.
obviously you're not a woman, and you've never been penetrated.
You've never
when
tried
the
it.
woman's not lubricated.
You've never tried it.
Well, you've never
Are you
felt
kidding me?
it.
You get home, and in 5 minutes, you better be lubricated. Okay,
Yeah, but see, you're totally
man.
talking,
What do you mean
you're
not?
talking on the men's side.
Oh yeah, you're not lubricated. Well, get lubricated, honey, because we
Well,
got to go out
that's maybe why the
You know
woman
something?
takes a little longer.
Yeah, it's very, very insensitive.
I'm not talking about insensitive, okay? I'm talking about what we need as men. And this
Right,
lady,
but
she
what
don't know
about
it,
what
okay?
women need? You don't seem to care.
No, I just got done telling you this is what women's needs. They don't know it, and I'm telling them.
So now you
there
can
was
talk
an
to a
old
woman.
disco
I
song.
think you're totally out there.
Do you remember the old disco song, Get Down on It?
Right,
Okay,
right. The
that's
women may not be
Word
ready.
to the wise. Word to the wise. And let me tell you something else. There's a special on analese in the back pages of Hustler. If you go to the...
Okay, man. You're starting to advertise now.
Well, they got it there.
Yeah, and
It's a good price.
this is all I have to say, so I'm going to hang up now. Thanks, Phil.
Thank you. Okay, a special on...
Yeah, on analese in the back.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, good. Congratulations, man. And when you get out of that 7-Eleven, this dude is like calling me from I keep hearing the door opening. He's talking to me about his new company, Hot Clothes or whatever the hell it is. And he's calling me from the nacho cheese dispenser at the 7-Eleven. Hotware, that's it. Hotware, Chris Norton. When we get that website, we'll give it to you, by the way. 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendrie Show. And I killed a bunch of ants in my house yesterday. See, these things had crawled all over the cat food, and they'd gotten into the cereal box. They were crawling all over the kids. I pulled the blankets back on them one morning to wake them up, and they were just totally covered in ants. And have you ever done that? You ever pulled, like the sleeping...
1-800-449-8686. And now more on The Phil Hendrie Show.
But I know that we have to teach children the horrible things that can happen when you have a gun.
And you used to teach middle school, right?
Yes, I did. I used to teach middle school. I taught school 41 years. I taught middle school after I left Texas Teachers College. And I will tell you, Phil, I know children. I raised 5 children. I have 7 grandchildren. And every one of them knows what a gun can do. And I am so tired of parents taking all of the blame for a child who has found a gun, has gone out and done something horrible with it. This child in Florida.
You're talking about Nathaniel Brazil. Is that his name, Mike? Nathaniel Brazil?
Yes, by that boy who shot his teacher.
Right.
Everybody's saying, well, what was the parents doing? How did he get a gun? I have a .39 caliber. I taught my children what a gun can do. They have all kinds of cartoons that will tell them what a gun can do. You can look on the TV and see NYPD Blue, or you can see all these shows what a gun can do. And this boy went out. He shot that teacher. He knows. So I hate it when they blame the parents.
Well, our parents and the responsible guardians are the ones that teach the children right from wrong, don't they?
They might teach right from wrong, but how stupid can a child be that doesn't know a gun is going to kill somebody? I taught my children what a gun can do, and I did it right away. The children had a big dog as a pet. Now, this was a big black dog, some kind of Labrador mix, like a mixed breed.
Okay.
And I said to them, now, I want you to see what a gun can do. I got a 38 caliber. I took them outside. I shot the dog, and I killed it.
Was the dog sick?
No, but I shot it and killed the dog to show the children what a gun can do. And we buried it in the backyard, and the children, they cried, and they keep themselves up crying all night. And
You shot the children's pet to see?
Yes, I did. And I did it to show them the hell that a gun can bring. My husband, Jeffrey, who died in 1993, and I love him very much, he had the children out at his workbench. And he said, I know I have to do it if I'm ever really going to teach these children right from wrong about guns. And my husband, Jeffrey, who I love very much, he took them out to his workbench. He had a .22 rifle, and he set that rifle up in like a vise, and he shot himself through his left hand. In fact,
your husband shot... You guys are... You're going out and you're shooting dogs, and your husband shot himself, and...
But that is how you teach a child the destructiveness of a gun. You don't just tell him, now don't you touch a gun, don't you do that, because the children are going to do it, because they are all interested about that. And we taught, and we caught James, who is our youngest, sticking his nose in the closet where the guns were, and we taught James. I'm going to tell you something about James. My son James is an alcoholic today. That's a bad thing.
And you want to know why he's an alcoholic?
No, wait, because he probably got traumatized or what have you by seeing me shoot his dog.
Yes.
But I will tell you this right now. I pray every day for James that he no longer is an alcoholic. But I would rather have him have a night train drinking son every day to fortify stuff than him playing with guns and maybe killing another human being. I believe in Jesus. I believe he is the Savior of all people. And in my religion, God said, if thine eye offends thee, pluck it out. And if the gun is offending thee, you got to shoot a dog or get the gun out of there.
All right, Mavis is Mavis Leonard, right?
That is correct, yes.
All right, Mavis is with me. She's a former middle school teacher. We're talking about this kid, Nathaniel Brazil, Nathaniel in Miami. 14-year-old kid gets a gun, goes to school, shoots his teacher. And the whole idea about guns, you're a middle school teacher, and what do you do with kids? Now, our number is 1-800-449-8686. As a teacher and as a parent, you went and took your gun, which is a .38 caliber, and you shot the kid's dog.
Yeah, that's right.
And your husband shot himself through the hand to show the kids what kind of damage a gun can do.
That is absolutely correct, because I am not going to have these children turn around and look at me and say, it's your fault. I don't know nothing about no gun. And it's Grandpa's fault. I don't know nothing about no gun.
But you got an alcoholic son today, and you're saying that he is an alcoholic because he was traumatized by seeing that dog get shot.
As I said, Mr. Hendrie, I would rather have...
You'd rather have an alcoholic son than a kid than a guy that doesn't know how a gun works.
I would rather have him be an alcoholic than have him out there shooting and killing people. And that is the truth. And I would tell you, I don't fool around. I'll tell you right now, if you are serious about letting a child know just how dangerous a gun is, you have to have him know how bad they are. And you may have to demonstrate. It doesn't have to be a dog or what my husband Jeffrey did. My sister Vivian took her daughter's puppets, and the child had the kind on a string.
Okay.
And she had about 3 of them, and she shot all 3 puppets.
She took the puppets outside.
She took these child's puppets, and she took her dolls, and she set them up on a tree. And she said, "Now, I want you to see this," because she was talking to her daughter Arlene. And she watch this. And she took a gun and shot all the puppets and all the dolls. And she had done that after she heard I'd shot the dog. Now, not one of my grandchildren and not one of my children have ever been convicted of shooting another human being or have ever had a problem with a gun. And the children cried, said, "Why are you shooting my puppet?" And she said, "So you can see what happens to a human being when a puppet gets shot up. And that's what happens to a human being." And she shot the head off and the arm, the leg, everything. She just blew hell out of all the dolls and puppets, everything the child had.
Well, you know what? You're telling me...
I know it's a shocking story.
You're telling me a shocking story about a mother who apparently loves her kids, taking her gun and blasting hell out of the kid's dolls so the kid won't pick up a gun.
So that child will not pick up a gun. That is exactly right.
And you're telling me also fully admitting that your son's an alcoholic after he saw you shoot his dog. But you're okay with that because he knows what a gun can do and he won't go near it.
I would, like I said, that kid's going to be alcoholic or not, but I don't want that child getting in no trouble after having been involved with a gun.
All right, 1-800-449-8686. This is Mavis Leonard, a former middle school teacher, about what she did to teach her kids that guns were bad. She took their pet outside and shot it. And then her husband shot himself through the hand. Is he dead?
My husband, yeah, Jeffrey is dead now.
That didn't kill him, did it?
No, that did not kill him. No, of course not. But he shot himself through the hand, and you should have heard him scream. He was screaming for like a half hour. But he did it for our children.
Okay, let me talk to Esther here on the Phil Hendrie Show. Esther?
Hi, yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm appalled that someone would shoot their kid's pet. I mean, you've taught this kid to love this pet, and my father taught my brother and I what guns could do by teaching us to shoot when we were 7. He took us hunting with him. We would shoot deer and pheasant and bring them home and eat them, not just waste a life.
Well, you know, Esther, that's a very good point, but I want to tell you this. We grew up not very, my family, we did not have a lot of money, and so we couldn't run out and go hunting and do all that nice stuff. But what I wanted to do is give the children an idea as to what can happen, what a gun can do to something you love. And that's what we're talking about, isn't it? Aren't we talking about what a gun can do to something you love as opposed to just a deer or a mule or whatever you're shooting out there? What'd you go hunting for?
Well, what I'm saying is
did you
have taken them
shoot
to a gun safety course or something where you could see the videos?
That's what some white people do. No, black people in the inner city, we can't. All we can do is just tell a child. And
what do you mean something white people do?
Well, it's just, gun safety and all that. Let's go out pheasant hunting. I couldn't tell you what a pheasant looked like. You know what I'm saying? So what we did is I took a dog that the child loved, and I blew its brains out.
And that's appalling to me. I mean, I'm very well adjusted. I'm not an alcoholic. I've never shot anybody in my life. I've never shot a pet, and I still know the damage a gun can do.
Well, but you don't know what it's like to see something you love all shot up. And I can tell you, if your father had taken, I'm sure you had dolls or anything as a child.
Oh, yeah, we had dogs, cats, horses.
No, I'm talking about dolls and puppets and that kind of thing, like stuffed animals.
Oh, yeah.
All right, if your father had taken all those and shot those, or cut the heads off of them, or fed them into an industrial shredder.
I would think he was crazy. I'm sorry, but I wouldn't have any
Fed them
respect
into
for my
an...
father.
That's what we did with my daughter. You know, she had some stuffed animals, and my husband has a large industrial shredder in the garage. And we put them in, and we said, if you ever go near the shredder, this is what can happen to you. Watch what happens to your doll. And we put her stuffed bear in there.
But then nothing has any value to them anymore. I mean, if you keep taking things away that they cherish, then nothing will have any value to them anymore because it could be taken away at any moment.
My husband wanted to put his hand in there, and I told him, you cannot do that. You will hurt yourself very badly. But that's how serious we were.
Well, and that should be enough to tell them that they'll hurt themselves very badly. I mean,
you don't think he put his hand in there?
Well, when my parents told me that something would hurt me very badly, yeah, I didn't do it.
No, but if my husband demonstrated by sticking his own hand into an industrial shredder.
He did that?
No, he was going to do it. I talked him out of it.
I mean, that's just crazy. That sounds like self-mutilation.
Yeah, that's...
Well, we want to make sure the kids got the message.
Well, they can get the message without your husband sticking his hand into the shredder. Thank you for your call. 1-800-449-8686. This is Mavis Leonard. She is a middle school teacher. We're talking about how to teach kids to stay away from guns. Your philosophy is, kids, you're getting tired of the adults getting blamed, right?
I'm so sick and tired. These stupid kids come over. Do you know what happened one time? I had my a friend come over, and she had her son. Now, I had my .38 caliber sitting on an end table in the living room.
Okay.
And this stupid child picked that up, and he points it at his dad. And, of course, we run, and we grab the gun from him right away.
Thank God.
That's right. But that stupid child thought it was a cigarette lighter. She looked at it. Look at that cigarette lighter. I said, you have got to be kidding. You raise a dumb, stupid child like this thing as a cigarette lighter? I'll teach him whether it's a cigarette lighter. So what I did is I held the gun to his head, and they were all screaming. I said, you think it's a cigarette lighter? No, and of course he didn't say that. And
put a gun to a kid's head, man, is going to be scaring him half to death.
Well, I tell you right now, he knows it's not a cigarette lighter now.
1-800-449-8686. Ben on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Look, there are thousands and thousands of responsible gun owners in the United States today. And I can't speak for all of them. That's true.
Have you got children?
Yes, I have children.
Have you ever thought about shooting one of their pets to teach them about guns?
Absolutely not. Destructive behavior. In fact, I'd go so far as to say self-destructive behavior with you doing the kind of things that you do. If you love those kids, you're not going to traumatize them. You're not going to show them virtually criminal behavior on your own part and then claim that you're trying to teach them how to be responsible citizens. Well, let me ask you something. Do you claim that you're teaching your kids to be responsible citizens? Do you think you're doing that?
Oh, yes, I do.
You think you're teaching them to be responsible by your irresponsibility. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm telling you, Ben, that the children will never know what a gun can take away something you love until you blow the brains right out of one of their pets.
You listen. I don't want to get personal, but I'm telling you right now, if you're not sick, then you are without doubt the most irresponsible person I have ever heard in my life. I'm not kidding you. When you're talking about firearms and you're talking about something that has the power over life and death, and then you demonstrate the wrong use of it and think that somehow your kids are going to get a positive message
out of it. Well, they got
the
message that if you mess around with a gun, you can kill something you love, just the same way as when we took my daughter's dolls. And
what about teaching your kids firearm safety? Enroll them in the National Rifle Association Firearm Safety Course.
That's something all you rich people can do, all right? We don't have a lot of money, but I will tell you, you can take a child's doll and run it over with your car and say, look at that.
Oh, for crying out loud. Well, do you know anything about the safe operation of firearms yourself?
Of course I do. I got a 38
caliber. Well, then teach them that. Teach them that which you know.
I did. I showed them this is what a 38 can do, and I shot a hole through the girl's Barbie doll. I blew the head right off it.
You're shooting the kid's Barbie doll.
That is an object of affection to that child.
Well,
that
then
child
she messed
bonded
around
with
with a
that
gun.
doll and loved the doll, so you take away the thing that the child loves and say, oh, I'm teaching you something good,
Well,
something
either
positive.
Either Barbie's heads or hers.
Okay, 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendrie Show.
Phil Hendrie, 1-800-449-8686.
Okay, this lady, a former middle school teacher. Now, you're retired, 41 years, though, and you have guns in the house. You had guns. Your husband's been dead for how long?
My husband, that was Jeffrey died in 1993, Phil. I wanted to say, though, that we don't have a lot of guns in our house when the kids are growing up.
Well, you had a 38, your husband had a 22, and the way you taught your kids gun safety was by taking the dog out bat, shooting it, shooting the kids' dolls, and feeding one of their stuffed animals into industrial shredder.
That teaches the children that things that they love can be destroyed. And I can tell you that I am a Christian, and I believe in Jesus. I believe he is the Savior of all people. And I know if the gun is offending thee, shoot a dog, get that gun out of it. Because I shot a dog for Jesus just the other day. I shot a dog for Jesus just the other day. I shot a dog for Jesus just the other day. Now my boy's an alcoholic. That's the price you have to pay. Now that is a song that gives you comfort. You know, for the children, I don't fool around.
Your husband shot out his own hand. He shot his own hand, didn't he?
That's right. And he screamed for a half hour. And he said to me, maybe I've got to teach the children. So he decided to put a bullet through his hand. And then he hopped around. God damn it, and I say that as a Christian, but that hurt me. I do it for the children.
He did it for the children, bleeding with a bullet through his hand. Here's Kim on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hi.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
just wonder where in the world the police department is in this whole situation. Why is no one called on her and her husband
What
and
law am I
anybody else
breaking?
in the house?
What law am I breaking?
Excuse me?
What law did I break?
Oh, my gosh. You're sitting there murdering animals, which is against the law.
I shot one dog, and I shot a doll. I don't think there's
No.
any law against shooting a dog.
You do not treat children that way. That is not the way. And to be a former teacher, I just can't believe it. I'm a former elementary teacher,
So you want to keep
and I
taking
just
the heat?
can't imagine.
Every
The
time
development of a child is not to go shoot your own hand to show them that they can't get guns.
Let me ask
The
you
development
something,
of a
Kim.
child, all
you're
you're teaching them is insecurity.
All these children, they are going to put the heat on you.
No,
and you're the adult. And a kid goes
No.
out and shoots somebody, and you're the one going to get the heat because
Well,
you are the mother.
No,
Well, why shouldn't
no,
the parents
no.
get the heat?
And what are you teaching them? Appreciating their own things. I can't imagine throwing something in whatever,
I said
the
to my daughter,
shredder
I said-
earlier that you said. What is that teaching them? How to
I
appreciate
told her,
their
I
own
said,
things.
you love this stuffed animal. And
No.
my daughter loved her, my daughter, Adrienne.
Well, we
and she
love a
said,
lot of things.
I love
They
my
love
stuffed
you
animal.
too. And what if they
I'd like
took the gun
I'd
to
like
you one day?
Because they had learned that if they lose something, apparently you're not listening to what I'm saying, girl. I said, you love this, right? They said, yeah. I said, well, watch this. And then I threw it into the shredder.
I know. I've
why
heard
did you-
this about
so you
15
do that-
times.
That's right. And the reason
I've
why I
heard
did that,
your story, and you are insane.
Oh,
you
you
are
don't-
the
you heard my
craziest
story, but
person
you don't
I have
understand
ever
what I'm
heard of
saying.
in my life.
you heard
And
my
this
story,
is
you
why
don't
we
understand.
have children running around with guns in schools and shooting people up in schools. This is not the only
I want to ask
reason,
you,
but
Kim,
you are teaching them that
how
it's
do
okay.
you know, how can you teach a child what happens to a human being when he gets shot? The way to do it is to shoot a puppet or a doll, shoot its head off.
No, that is
That
not
doesn't
the way
teach
to
you
do
what.
it. I've heard several people
You
mention
shoot-
gun
put a-
safety, and
put it
many
through its
are
little
not. You
plastic
can
head.
get gun safety for free.
Wait a minute.
or
If I
very
shot a doll,
inexpensively.
if I shot a plastic doll with a gun, it would shoot the doll's head off.
That's what happens to a human being.
I just heard a guy say, you're not going to shoot a guy's head off with a handgun.
Clint Eastwood say you could shoot a man head clean off with a .44 Magnum. So if you put a bullet through a doll, you teach that child right quick, you don't mess around with me. Because I'll tell you right now, I shoot a doll, I can shoot a dog.
No,
All right.
I can't believe that
now
the
it's
police
all about the
department
kid.
hasn't stepped in on this. This is, or CPS department. I work for them. They should have stepped in for this too.
Oh, we didn't
and
do
if I
anything
knew
with a
where
child.
you lived, I'd
Shooting a
send them
doll.
right over there to deal
Kim,
with
I
you.
tell you, shooting a doll is not child abuse. shooting a kid, that's child abuse, not a dog.
No,
All
the
right.
way you were
Shoot that
treating
dog.
your
Okay.
children is.
All right, Kim, thank 1-800-449-8686. Rick on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
How you doing? I just want to say that this woman thinks she's teaching her kids anything but stupidity. She's a fool.
Oh.
Shooting yourself in the hand is stupid. And if you
My
think
husband
that
did that.
showing your kids
Calling my
stupid
late
behavior is anything.
All right, I want to see what my Navy man buddy here says about pistol dots.
The reason I came today is I wanted to shoot my AK build I just finished, but then I couldn't.
Sorry, I cleaned it up. That was clean until that last shot.
Well, hello there, everyone.
Does this story seem possible?
I finally reversed my course with dots on pistols. Mark it down in your calendars. I know, I said I'd never do it. It's not for me. I finally found an instance where that's not true.
It's false.
First, my buddy came down to visit, and he let me run his G19 in my holster. I have a Safari Land for a Glock 17 MOS that I don't run a dot on. But he let me run his 19, very gracious of him, I appreciate it. And it was peak aesthetics with my black and tan Geisley with his black and tan Glock 19. And to be honest, I didn't do too well with it. I threw a lot of shots low and left despite trigger presses. I managed to kneecap both targets like a fucking asshole. So that was cool. But I did find an instance where it works.
But then how do you explain the bullet hole in his phone?
He brought down his PVS 14 and I got to play with night vision, not at work, and it was great. I did find out very quickly though, tritium sights to me through nods look like 3 giant orbs. So then he let me use his Glock 19 with the dot on the night vision setting, and it was crystal clear. I have astigmatism, like I've said multiple times, and I don't have it under night vision. I guess the tube does all the adjustments for you. So, well, once you focus it and shit. But dots look gorgeous under nods. This is probably how normal people see them. Not us four-eyed fucks, but it's very, very nice to have just the dot. And it's kind of weird because it's just the dot floating in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around it. The housing, the gun, your hands, everything's blurry, but the dot is crystal clear. So, for night vision use, strongly recommend the dot, and it comes in handy. So I'm definitely going to be using it in the future, and I will have a couple guns with some dots on them to do night vision work in the future when I stop being poor and get nods. Moving forward, I'll have a couple of them. I'm not sure which guns I'm going to put them on. Probably 145 for having a suppressor host that's got a dot on it, and then probably just a Glock 17 MOS or something like that for night vision stuff.
Interesting.
But I might...
Because the new 2020 HK VP9s do have a cutout on the top of the gun that allows for for these, MOSs or whatever. So that's interesting.
I want a 9mm that's more suppressor friendly. We'll see. We'll see. Just wanted to let everybody know I changed my position on something and show off these beautiful black and tan guns before my buddy leaves and takes his Glock with him. Thanks for watching. Take care out there.
You believe this story?
Sup, bro?
And well, hello everyone.
What's up, bro? What, bro? Sup, bro?
And welcome. My camera is still on hospice, and this is the LMT 10.5 or belligerence. Just straight will get everybody's attention.
Close at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday. Oh, this is a shithole. I love bombs.
I can't hear! I can't hear!
You.
And we're talking about federal premium 22 long rifle punch ammunition. Many people have contacted me asking me to do a review of this type of ammo, and a viewer gave me this box of ammo. Thank you very much. So here we are. And I'll shoot this alongside some other types of 22 long rifle ammo that are considered to be high performance, such as CCI Mini Mag, CCI Stinger, and Remington Yellow Jacket, and we'll see how the punch ammo stacks up. And we'll start with a close-up of what these ammunitions look like. From left to right, our ammunitions are our Federal Punch 29 grain flat nose, CCI Mini Mag 36 grain hollow point, CCI Stinger 32 grain hollow point, and Remington Yellow Jacket 33 grain truncated cone hollow point. Before we even get started, there's two very important things I have to point out. One, we saw that our different types of 22 ammo have different projectile weights, and some people would consider that comparing them would be unfair. I'm going to say that it is fair because your Federal 22 long rifle punch ammunition is marketed for personal defense. It actually has the words personal defense on the box. So I'm going to compare it to 22 ammunition that I would consider to be good and or popular choices if someone were going to use a 22 long rifle for concealed carry, personal protection, home defense. The second thing is, this has an advertised velocity printed on the box of 1,070 feet per second. That does not sound particularly impressive, especially when you compare it to our CCI Mini Mag, which has an advertised velocity printed on the box of 1,260. 190 feet per second more with a bullet that's significantly heavier. Okay, you have to read the fine print. When you look at ballistics charts and you look at the velocity of 22 long rifle ammunition, that is almost always achieved using rifle-length barrels. Right here on the box, it's printed velocity achieved through 2-inch barrel. You have to read the fine print before you count this out. So, let's go to the chronograph and see what kind of velocities we get using several barrel lengths. I have the chronograph set up at 7 yards. I have my Ruger 1020...
Wait a minute, a guy I just talked to fucking deleted his Discord account. That's fucking weird. I'm gonna see if I can whisper this guy. I've been seeing a lot of people deleting their accounts. I'm glad I take a screenshot of Another deleted user. What the fuck? Wave to deleted user? Whatever, Discord. Holy fuck. What the fuck? How am I losing?
With an 18.5-inch barrel.
I don't fucking
and we'll
like
start with CCI Mini.
Fuck you.
36.
I don't care about 22 long rifle. I got your long rifle.
So in this video, we're going to look at two of the controls, a Pilot Hawker 900 XP. I used to fly an aircraft like this a decade ago. Thanks, George. Your personal touch is always appreciated. So getting back to the main point, if the centre of lift is rearward of the centre of gravity, and I pick the aircraft up at that point, it is naturally going to tilt forward. This is how real aircraft are designed. The force that balances that nose down pitching moment is a down force on the horizontal stabilizer. This is the horizontal stabilizer, and because of the angle that it is set on the aircraft and the forward speed of the aircraft, we have a down force being produced here. So the natural balance of the aircraft is to pitch down. By varying the amount of down force on this tail, we can pitch the aircraft up or allow it to pitch nose down. You will notice, even on the model, we have what appears to be a hinge on either side. The hinged portion on either side of the horizontal stabilizer are called the elevators, and the elevators are controlled directly by the joystick. If I pull the joystick back, the elevators move up. If I push the joystick forward, the elevators move down, and that varies the amount of downforce being produced on the horizontal stabilizer. So it gives the pilot immediate control over the pitch attitude of the aircraft.
Listen to this guy, reminds me of Art Griego, but Art Griego doesn't know anything about airplanes. He tried to fly one straight up with no wings using a Buick engine. Oh, man. Airplanes don't need wings. Oh, man. I love it, dude. I fucking love it. I gotta hear it, dude. I'm sorry. Oh, man.
Even though he had a rudder, he crashed.
Well, wait a minute. The man's saying it had nothing to do with the wings.
But he had wings
on the wings. The reason John Denver crashed, if you want to isolate it to a particular reason, first of all, John Denver shouldn't have been flying. He shouldn't have been flying because his license was revoked by the FAA.
What about
he
Buddy
shouldn't have been
Holly?
in the airplane to begin with. Secondly,
what about Patsy Cline? Her plane had wings.
Yeah,
you see
okay,
what I'm saying? John Kennedy Jr.'s plane had wings. You see?
I'd like to hear from the man. You're interrupting a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The wings also is a practical place to store fuel. In other words, you wouldn't have
put
any.
that in a can behind the seat. What do you? I don't get what you're saying. I know I'm going to get up in the air, and I know I'm going to live. I'm having a difficult time hearing you, Phil.
Okay, you were saying that we have no need.
Right, we have no need for wings, propellers, or rudders. And
well, you got a lot of pilots who think that they need wings.
You don't. You don't need wings. And I'll tell you something. If you want to see more people die, then put wings on airplanes. Now, I'm at Santa Monica Airport. One of the reasons I can't hear you, Phil, is I was inside the hangar. I rolled my Cessna 172 out, and I had it on the runway, and I had them take the wings off and the propeller and the rudder. And I'm going to try to, I'll get airborne here in a few minutes and tell you.
Wait a minute. You took the wings, the propeller, and the rudder off of your craft.
That's correct.
And you think you're going to get up in the air?
I know I'm going to get up in the air. And I know I'm going to live. And for the first time, I will be flying. I will be flying with the knowledge that I'm going to live. Because as much as I love to fly, every time I take off in an aircraft, I fear death more than anything. I can feel death's cold breath on my neck. But because I've removed the wings, the prop, and the rudder from my airplane, I know I'm going to live.
All right, let's go to Oregon on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yes. My name's Dave Saunders.
How you doing, Dave? Art Griego here, Santa Monica, California.
I taught aeronautics for many years. You cannot take an airplane up in the air without wings.
I disagree.
You can't get any lift. How are you going to get lift?
Well, I'll tell you how you get lift. How do we get to the moon? We didn't have wings on that.
Well, yeah, but we were going straight up. We weren't going on a level flight.
Well, I propose that we begin to... Excuse me, I'm having...
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I just had car phone trouble. I propose that we begin taking off straight up.
Then what are you going
Dave,
to do?
Do you hear me, Dave?
I hear you.
I think we should start taking off straight up.
All right, that's fine.
Okay, there you go.
Then how are you going to level that plane off and stay in level flight?
You begin to decelerate. The plane begins to level off.
It won't level off without wings.
Certainly it'll level off.
It will not level off without wings.
How do you know? Have you ever taken off straight
yes,
up?
Yes.
You've taken off straight up in the air. No, you
no,
haven't.
I'm not going to go straight up in the air.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it right now. And I feel so confident.
Wait a minute. Now, you've taken the wings off your Cessna. And
yes, I have.
All right, you're at Santa Monica Airport right now?
Yes, I am.
All right, and you've taken the wings off and the propeller and the rudder.
That is correct.
And I doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anything about aeronautics. You cannot fly without wings.
Well, Dave, I would suggest that you're wrong because you've never tried it.
Oh, I'm
but
not
you know
going to try it. I want to stay with wings so I can...
I'd like to ask you to help to join me in this pioneering spirit and begin flying without wings.
I won't be with you.
Well, are you a pilot, sir?
Yes.
All right, Dave, do you own your own aircraft?
Not anymore. I'm 92 years old. I don't fly anymore.
All right, sir. I would suggest, you sound like you probably flew during the day, maybe perhaps twin double-wing planes, perhaps?
There's no point in talking any further about it. I'm an aeronautics expert. I taught it for years.
I'm telling you, Dave, would you believe me if I told you that I can do it? I'll prove it to you right now.
Have you ever done it before?
I'm going to try it right now.
Wait a minute. If you've never done this before, don't try it.
No. I'm going to, I'm inside the cockpit right now of my Cessna. Let me try and fire it up right now.
Now you're going to get it to go.
All right, you can hear the engine very clearly.
What engine? Where's your propeller?
Can you hear the engine? Oh,
yes,
it just cut out. It just cut out. Hold on for a minute. Let me try it again.
What kind of an engine is it?
It's a Buick.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, is that a problem?
A Buick?
A Buick? That's ridiculous.
No, I'm just joking around with you, Dave. It just cut out again. All right, let's try it one more time. I swear to God, this is going to be a great moment. Go.
Yeah, that is. I'm sorry I won't be able to come to the funeral.
Here I go.
Here I go, Dave. 1, 2, 3, and shoot. I got a problem.
You bet you have.
What do you think it is? Can you help me out?
The problem is that you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I think I can do this. Let me try it one more time. 1, 2, 3, and... Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Shoot.
Well, let me ask a question.
Yes, sir.
You say you're going straight up.
I've got the plane pointed straight up, yeah. It's very uncomfortable right now.
All right. Then you're going to go straight up.
Yeah.
And when you get up to a certain level, you're going to do what?
I will begin to decelerate. And at that point, as I decelerate, the nose, because of the weight, will begin to drop forward.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You turn right around, and your nose, being the heavier part of the plane, will go straight down and bury you in the ground, and you won't have to go to a funeral.
All right. You may have a point, but what I'm trying to do is I got to work that out.
You sure have, because it won't work. Let me explain to you.
Hold on. Come on, baby. Prove it to Dave. I know I can do it.
I think you're going to hurt yourself.
Shut up, Hendrie. Okay, come on. It died out again. Look, Dave, when the nose dips, I fire the engine back up and I continue flight.
Impossible.
Impossible, huh?
Yes.
That's exactly what they said to Christopher Columbus. Okay,
yeah,
Dave.
But he wasn't flying airplanes.
Well, they said it was impossible, though.
What was impossible for him?
That he could sail a ship.
Well, that has nothing. That's irrelevant. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
They said that to the Wright brothers, too.
Well, the Wright brothers succeeded.
Well, that's a point.
Do you know why?
That's a good point.
Let me ask
Let's
you a
try
question.
one more time. Here we go. Oh, please let me fly.
Phil?
That's a pile of crap.
You know what? I think you're going to wind up killing yourself going straight up.
Phil?
Yes, sir.
The purpose of a wing is to provide lift. This is according to the Bernoulli principle.
The Bernoulli principle?
The air passing over a surface. If the upper
Come on,
surface,
baby.
Let me explain this to you.
Come on, baby.
Let me explain why you have to have wings.
Yeah, go ahead.
You have to have wings.
Try another fuel ratio on that. Go ahead, I'm listening.
You have to have wings because...
3-to-1 fuel ratio. I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
You have to have wings because the airfoil, the wing is an airfoil.
Got to be able to get up off the ground now. This is the one. You know what? Maybe if I tried a real airplane engine, because I've got a Buick in it right now.
Hey,
a Buick engine isn't going to get you off the... All right, thank you, sir, for your call. Art...
I'm telling you, people will die, Phil, as long as airplanes have wings.
Right. Yeah, you're right, because they're still going to have plane crashes. 1-800-449... Will you knock it off with that thing? 1-800-449-8686.
Come on, baby.
Phil Hendrie Show. Lanterns out, Bobby, or maybe it hasn't, I don't know, but I know a lot of people like to put jack-o'-lanterns out. Bobby?
Hi, Phil, first of all.
Hi, how are you doing?
And Steve also says hello to you and sends his regards.
Thank you.
Yeah, Phil, at Western Estates, we're having that problem right now with a neighbor of ours who has decided to put some of the ghoul and goblin-like paraphernalia up. We think it's a little early. My husband believes it's a little early. I do, too.
Why is that?
Well, in and of itself, that's not really a problem. But this particular family, we had some questions about. As a homeowner association president, it is within my purview to review, Phil, the status of each family in our community. And my husband believes that there were some red flags with this family.
Now, we're talking about Halloween decoration, right?
Yes, that's right, Phil, but also some other things that came into our line of vision that we were concerned about, because in and of itself, the ghoul and the goblin-like paraphernalia was not bad.
Well, what are we talking about then here? You're talking about them putting up Halloween...
Well, we're not sure it's Halloween paraphernalia. That's the point that I'm trying.
You're not sure that it's Halloween paraphernalia?
That is correct, yeah.
Why?
Well, I went on the internet, and I can feel my heart racing a little bit.
What did you find?
I went on the internet, and I was watching a cable access show on our local cable channel, and I cross-referenced some things, and I showed my husband what I came up with, and he agrees that we've got something.
What did you see?
Phil, here's what I found. This happens to be, the family, by the way, happen to be out of town right now. And I just happened to be in their backyard one afternoon last week. I noticed that she's growing herbs. Now, that in and of itself is not disturbing. Basil, I understand. Garlic, I understand. But what I found troubling, and I immediately took the information to my husband, and he said, yes, this is wrong. She's growing St. John's wort. She's growing tarragon. She's growing verbinia. She's growing thyme and rosemary and lavender. And as I saw all of this, my heart started to palpitate because my husband, Steve, agrees.
All right, all of those things that you just said, Bobby.
Yes.
I don't know what any of that means.
Phil, these are herbs used by the practitioners of what is called Wicca, or witchism, or the white witchdom. And
Wicca is, you mean witchcraft?
That is, and I am so very frightened that Western estates could become infected with some kind of a coven of women practicing witchism or white witchdom.
All right, how do you know that you're not just getting a little hysterical? You say that these herbs, now name these herbs again.
Phil, I'm not hysterical. And
she's not hysterical, Phil. We saw it.
Is that Steve?
Yeah, that's my husband. Hold on, honey. Phil, I'm not.
All right, hold on. What herbs did you see?
I happened to be in her backyard, and I just happened to see verbinia, St. John's wort, and tarragon.
And these are herbs used by women who practice, what is it, witchdom?
Wicca witchdom, yes. Witch people. Or
witchcraft.
Witchcraft, yes.
And she has this goblin stuff up early?
She has up goblin and skeleton stuff up. She is always wearing black. She loves black. The word is, and I'm saying this, Phil, and I know there are children listening, but the word came down to us that in the last community that they lived in, the last gated community they lived in, which was not guard gated, it was a path. You had to have a numeric code to get through the gate, so it wasn't as good as having a guard gate. She was a little bit of a slut. She has 3 cats. I mean, I can feel my heart racing.
Well, my wife's a little upset.
All right, hold on, Steve. Is she...
Oh.
Okay,
her heart's palpitating.
All right, if she needs an ambulance or something, Steve, then maybe...
No, she's going to be all right.
All right.
I'll get her some water.
Okay, we're talking to Bobby Dooley. There is a heart palpitation problem going on there because she feels that a coven of witches or something. Bobby, dear.
Yes, Phil.
Okay, how do you know you're not being hysterical?
Phil, I'll tell you why.
Because Halloween is coming up. She's growing weird herbs. She has cats.
I'll tell you why, Phil. This couple moved in last year, and she did the most curious thing. Now, I happened to be in the backyard at the time, and I was bouncing up and down on my son's trampoline because it's a lot of fun. And as I bounced up, I happened to glance into her bathroom window.
You were on your son's trampoline.
I just happened to be going up and down on it in the backyard. And as I bounced up, each time I could look into her bathroom window. And
can you ordinarily see the bathroom window without the trampoline?
It just happens to be that you can't. No, it just happens to be that you can't see unless you're on a trampoline. But I was on the.
But you were using the trampoline, and you just so happened to glance into her bedroom.
Into her bathroom, and I saw something very curious, and I was very scared. But I'm trying to be strong because I am Christian. She was apparently getting ready to take a bath, and she had placed candles around the bathtub. Candles around the bathtub. And she does a lot of scented candles. And,
well, how do you know they were scented?
Because I happened to be in her home one day. They had an open house, and they weren't there because they thought they were going to sell the house. So I just happened to find myself in the house. And
you just happened to go into the house during the open house?
Yes. And
well, she happened to smell the candles, Phil.
I can hear her, Steve.
I happened to smell that they were scented candles. And
you weren't sniffing for them, were you? I mean...
No, I just happened to smell that. And another thing, Phil, I happened to be looking through a knothole in their fence, and I noticed, and my heart's racing, Phil, oh, God, they have a cauldron.
All right. You happen to be looking through a knothole in the fence.
Yes.
Phil, we are not nosy people.
Well, look at guys. You happen to be on a trampoline, and you happen to be looking through a knothole. And
Phil, we are here. We care about our community. And
what did you see when you were looking through the knothole in the fence?
Well, I was walking by the knothole, and I happened to just stick my eye up to it. And I suddenly found myself staring through the knothole.
Right.
And I saw a cauldron.
When you say a cauldron...
Well, Phil, in Macbeth, the witches say, double, bubble, boil, and bubble. Is that right, Steve?
Wait, I got it right here. Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. How does your garden grow?
Is that in Macbeth?
Yeah, with cockle bells and silver shells.
Okay, so that is in Macbeth.
Right.
And, Phil, it was a cauldron.
Okay. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
It was a black cauldron?
Yes.
Did it have wheels and legs on it?
It did.
Did it have a lid? Because most cauldrons don't have lids.
This cauldron it's called a Weber cauldron.
A Weber. That's Weber, and that's a barbecue.
Are you trying to make my wife look like an ass?
No, I'm not trying to do anything. But I think you guys...
Phil, that's very convenient, and I understand what you're saying. That's what they're disguising it to look like.
Look, witches don't even stir cauldrons anymore, man. That was like 100, maybe like 50 years ago or something when they did that. They don't do that anymore. And
how do you explain the whole thing of the candles?
I can't explain that.
And how do you explain the weird herbs?
Phil, listen, how do you know that witches do not use cauldrons anymore? How do you know so much about the Wiccanism?
I don't even know if it's called Wicca. I don't know. I'm saying that I have a Weber grill at my house. It's black. It looks like a cauldron, but it's actually a grill. It could very well be a barbecue, Steve. You're a man. You know.
I was trying to tell her that, but she said they could disguise it.
No cauldron has a lid. When witches cook in a cauldron, they don't let it steep, whatever the hell it is they're cooking, okay? They're not putting a lid on it and waiting 20 minutes, man. They're not cooking rice.
I don't think.
Phil, maybe it's not a cauldron, but the other things we feel very sure.
All right, hold on for a minute. 1-800-449-8686. 1-800-449-8686. We're talking to Bobby Dooley, President of Western States Homeowners Association. She believes a woman who lives across the street is practicing Wicca, witchcraft, which you think is anti-Christian, correct?
Yes, I do.
And let me ask you the defining question. What makes this any of your business?
Phil.
Isn't this freedom of religion?
Phil, it would be freedom of religion if white Wicca or witchdom was a religion, but my husband believes that Wicca is not a religion. It's just women plotting against men. And
that's what I think it is, man. It's not a religion. It's just a bunch of women trying to make a man not be able to get a woody.
All right, hold on for a minute. Sexual... I remember one time I went out with the girls years ago, and I thought she was into Wicca. She was into witchcraft, and I thought she was trying to pull some stuff on me, because I was having a particular bad time in my life, and I thought that she was a witch trying to do this. And then I realized that I was smoking too much dope. And as soon as I stopped smoking the pot, my life improved. Bobby Dooley with us. She believes the woman who lives across the street from her in Western Estates is practicing, quote, witchism or white Wiccadom, whatever. And that the lady is growing... Now, the woman is growing herbs in her backyard. St. John's wort, tarragon, verbinia, thyme, rosemary, lavender. Bobby says these are all herbs grown by witches. She also has candles that she sets... lighted candles she sets around a bathtub. She is also apparently got a cauldron or something in her backyard. Anyway, she's cross-referenced a lot of this stuff. 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendrie Show.
trying to get that. Okay, one more.
Okay. Hold on, Bobby?
Yes, Phil.
Hold on. 1-800-449-866. 1-800-449-8686. What is she doing? Bobby?
Yes, Phil.
What are you doing?
We are out back right now, and we have a camera. What we're trying to do is get some pictures of the herb garden.
This lady lives next door?
She's right next door, yeah. And my husband, Steve, is getting some... we're basically getting some... Do you get that?
I'm going to get this one right now.
We got pictures of what we think is a cauldron.
I really am telling you that's a Weber grill.
Still, I don't know whether...
Hold on for a minute. 1-800-449-8686. What we have is Bobby Dooley from Western Estates Homeowners Association. She's taking pictures of... there's a motor drive camera. Put them on hold because it's distracting. She believes that a witch has moved in next door, a woman practicing witchcraft. She is growing herbs, which Bobby says, according to her research, are related to witchcraft: St. John's wort, tarragon, verbinia, thyme, rosemary, lavender. She also says that the woman has scented candles throughout her home, some around her bathtub. She believes that could be some kind of a sacrificial rite. She also believes that the woman is practicing Wicca, witchcraft, because she has a cauldron in her backyard. Now, I pointed out that a lot of Weber barbecue grills look like cauldrons, and let's bring Bobby back on. Bobby, there?
Yes, Phil, right here.
All right. It could be a barbecue.
Phil, I understand that, but she is growing herbs that she will put into the cauldron for casting spells. That's what we believe. I am a Christian woman. I understand what you're saying.
You understand that that could be a barbecue.
I understand that we believe it is a cauldron disguised as a barbecue. I am a Christian. I do think it is my right to protect the children that are living in that home. And
well, what are you going to do? They've got 2 kids, right?
Yes. And we are going to contact Child Protective Services once we have a dossier on these people. I believe in freedom of religion, but my husband believes that Wicca and witchery is a way of making a man infertile and impotent.
You can't. If you have a witch and you're married to one, you won't be able to get no wood. And
I got that already, Steve. I got that already.
I'm taking pictures right now.
I got that you're taking pictures, but I think you're being panicky. I'm going to take some phone calls, Bobby.
Yeah, Phil, that's fine, but we just want to get a few more shots here of the...
What are you taking pictures of?
Of the herb. We just happen to be walking by your bedroom window, and we have some... do you get that?
Yeah.
Pictures of what?
Of her bedroom and candles.
All right. Of her bedroom and candles. You better hope they don't come home. Downey on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hi.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, Bobby. I think that you are really some type of a peeping Tom. There's no way possible that you can have your trampoline perfectly placed in the right area looking at someone's bathroom. I put candles in my bathtub all the time. That doesn't mean I'm practicing witchcraft.
This is white witchcraft. This is a very evil kind of witchcraft that Wicca and the witch people practice.
Well, this lady just said she's got candles.
So.
You've got candles around your bathtub, right?
Look,
I put candles in my bathtub simply to relax myself.
You are African American, are you not?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You know probably better than most people. I think black people, Phil, are much more attuned to this kind of witchcraft because of their roots in Africa.
Okay, well, I wouldn't know about any roots in Africa, but I don't believe in witchcraft, and I'm a Christian myself. And
I am too.
For you to just happen to peek in this lady's bathroom and you happen to go in her house and open, I think this is a joke. I think you guys have nothing else to do but be nosy.
That's right. Why can't you?
Phil, all I'm saying is I just happened to be looking through a knothole in the fence, and I saw the cauldron. I saw the cauldron that she'll make her evil spell in.
Okay, you don't happen to look in there. You purposely
I'm taking
look.
pictures of the cauldron right now, honey.
You do that, Steve.
Great. Good for Steve. He's taking... How many pictures of a freaking barbecue can you take?
What did the lady say? I'm sorry. Hello? Hello, ma'am?
Is Lady in Downey there? She's gone. All right.
You don't know what it's like to live next door to the witch people. They have goblins. Oh, God.
What do they have?
Phil, I'm afraid their children are goblins.
I'm going to get pictures of them.
Look at...
That's what you call the child of anyone who practices witchcraft.
What?
A goblin.
A goblin, okay.
Phil, you can laugh all you want. We're Christian people, and we're used to being laughed at.
Ma'am, I'm not laughing at your religion. I'm not even laughing. Irvine on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hello?
Go ahead. You're on the air, ma'am.
Okay. I just wanted to say that I raise herbs, that it's a hobby of mine.
I got a picture of the cauldron, too.
Okay.
What?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, ma'am. Go.
I
Go. Let's go.
raise herbs, and I have a hobby of making herbed vinegar and, like, healing baths. And I think that it's ridiculous. All of those herbs are perfectly normal.
All of those herbs are used in Wicca. Whether
I
you know that or
have
not.
all of them growing in my
Whether you
yard.
know it or not, they are all used in Wicca.
They're
and
also
they can all be used
for
to
people
cast
who
a spell.
happen to like growing herbs.
And I am a Christian.
I also think that
And
if you're jumping, looking in people's windows, and
Are your
looking
children
through eye
goblins?
holes, you
Okay.
are spying on them.
And maybe you are a practicing Wicca and you don't want anyone to know that. Do you have children?
What difference does it make whether I have
Well,
children?
it makes a lot of
You're spying
difference.
on your neighbor.
If you have children, then you're raising them to be goblin-like.
Because I like healing herbs.
Yes, because you are growing herbs that are
I
used
think
in
that
Wicca.
you have some mask over your face that you cannot
And I
see.
think-
You're obsessed
no.
with this idea and can't let it go.
No, I'm obsessed with the fact that
I
as
am
a
very
Christian,
sorry for you.
I do not want witch people living next door, and your children are goblin children.
Well, why don't you?
So there. And you can laugh if you want.
Oh
and
my
you can-
goodness!
and,
You have no idea anything about me.
you know,
That
I
is
do know that you
very
are growing
much.
dangerous herbs that will turn your children into a
Also
goblin-like
makes
creature.
for some really tasty
Your children are
chicken.
goblin-like creatures.
All right. 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendrie Show. One 1-800-449-8686. It's Phil Hendrie Show. Ordinarily, Bobby Dooley is on our program as part of Southern California Lifestyles. But this is something that's a little bit more serious, at least she thinks it is. She and her husband, Steve, live next door to a woman who they believe is practicing Wicca or witchcraft. And again, your proof of this is that the woman's growing weird herbs like St. John wort, tarragon, that she has candles.
Still, that's not our only proof.
Well, let me finish. A lot of candles, and that she is apparently has a cauldron.
So that is not our only proof. We happened to be in her garage 2 weeks ago. Let me ask you a question, and I'll ask you this honestly. How many brooms do you think a family should have? How many brooms do you have?
How many brooms you got, Phil?
How many brooms?
Yeah.
We probably have 2 brooms.
All right, this lady's got...
She has probably 7 or 8 brooms. And
well, what for? I don't understand.
Because, Phil, in the Wicca religion, and we've seen jokes about it, they can cast spells. There is something called broom riding, or riding the wind with a broom. And
so I don't know that witches ride brooms.
But that's what they believe they can do. They don't really ride brooms, but they straddle them and run around the back.
I'm sorry, we probably lost connection there.
Yes.
Go ahead.
They straddle them and run around their backyards.
Okay. Schenectady on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hi, I just wanted to
Yes,
let the
ma'am.
woman. Hi. I just wanted to let the woman know that we don't ride brooms anymore.
Well, no, I know you
and
don't
we
fly
don't
around on
repress
brooms.
men. We don't repress men. I hate to
ma'am.
break that to you.
Are you a witch, ma'am?
Yes, I am.
All
I'm
right.
half Christian and half Wicca.
Well, a lot of witches like to shrink the man's penis so that he can't have relations.
I think a lot of men are frightened of that. That witches will shrink a man's, if I can be so graphic, wiener.
Okay, so what do you say, making men impotent?
That's what witches do.
The leaders of Wicca are a priest and a priestess, which mean a man
A priest and a what?
Priestess.
Okay, we're Christian and we don't believe that.
Well,
We
you
don't
have a
believe
male and a female minister, do you not?
No, we do not. We are people who believe in a pastor.
Okay. I go to church and see a minister.
They hate men.
Do you
No,
hate
they
men?
don't. I'm sorry.
Do you hate men?
No, I don't.
Are you with a boyfriend right now?
I'm engaged to be married.
Have you had sex with him?
Mm-hmm. I
Okay,
have.
so that's premarital sex. That's against God's law. You're going to rot and burn.
Well,
Well, you have a cauldron?
no, I do not. I'm sorry.
What do you do with all the herbs you grow?
I don't grow herbs.
You do not grow herbs.
No, I don't.
Okay, then where do you get the stuff for your potions and everything?
I don't do potions.
Okay, you're not a witch.
Yeah, she's not a witch, though.
Well, wait a minute. She claims to be a witch.
There is something called white magic and black magic.
Do you-
What you claim to shrink, that is black magic. Good magic heals people. That's what I do.
What about all the candles?
Candles are a way of centering on something.
She's not a witch, Phil.
Well, why isn't she a witch?
Because she doesn't cast spells. And she
I
doesn't
do
have a
cast spells,
you don't
but I
have a
cast
cauldron.
healing spells.
You don't have a cauldron, so...
All right, ma'am. Here is Portland on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, hi.
A lot of people could call up and claim to be a witch, Phil, but we've looked it up on the internet.
All right, fine. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it. Go ahead.
I've never in my life called into a show before, but I've never heard anybody in my life feel that they could spy on their neighbors and that it was a perfectly okay thing because they thought something was wrong and they don't know anything about it.
We're Christian, and we believe that
What kind of Christian are you?
We protect children. That's that kind.
No, I mean, what are you, a Baptist?
The kind of Christian. We are a secular First Street.
Okay. So
secular
do you
First Street
mention
of
this
the
to your minister that you're doing all these
yes.
things?
Minister Dugan is well aware of what's going on, and we are attempting to pray to Jesus so that he will intercede and melt the witch or somehow set her on fire.
Really? Now, see, that's exactly what you're saying a witch would do.
No. Witches you can melt.
No.
We want to save the children before the witch turns them into full goblins. Right now, we are very afraid that the children are in...
How old are your children?
No, we're talking about their children.
Well, what are her children's names?
Casey and Stuart. And Casey... Oh, God, I have palpitations. I don't know how old you are, but I have very serious...
I'm a lot older than you are, I'm sure.
I have a very serious heart palpitation.
And why do you put yourself through all this when you could just mind your own business?
Because right now we are afraid that Casey and Stuart are in a half-goblin state.
Oh, come on, lady, get off it.
Ma'am, you don't know what we saw.
Practice magic.
You don't know what we
grind
saw
you
over
up
there.
and thin your top.
Ma'am, you don't know what we saw over there. We saw herbs, and we saw candles all lit up, and a
Have you not seen an advertisement on TV for a bathroom, and they're full of candles, and the woman's getting into a bathtub? She's not a witch. She's an advertisement.
How come she has so many brooms? Okay, that's what question
come on.
one. And what about the cauldron to mix up the potions?
They've done that for about 150 years.
All right, right now what we're talking about is the well-being of children. They have 2 children who are now metamorphosizing into full goblin state.
And they go to school.
Yes, they do go to school.
And nobody in their school notices that they're different.
The full goblin state
I think
manifests
you are
itself.
psychotic, lady. Absolutely psychotic.
I am a Christian. I believe in
Lord
Jesus
waving your
Christ.
Christian crap under people's nose. If you were a Christian, you wouldn't act like this. You wouldn't even be. You're not even a decent neighbor.
I am trying
If you
to
got a
save-
gripe with her, you ought to go over and say
Lady,
something.
we're trying to save 2 children's lives from being full goblin.
Oh, come on. Do you honestly believe this? You're a grown man. Do you honestly believe this, or do you put this lady on for fun?
Ma'am, this is my wife that you're talking about, all right?
Steve, we need to either talk to Bobby or you, not both of you, okay?
All right, Bobby, go ahead.
We believe that the only skin that turns green is the skin under their clothes, so that the school does not yet recognize the full goblin-esque manifestation.
All right, so you're saying the kids have turned goblin only under their clothes?
At this present time,
Well,
yes.
they don't wear gloves to school.
That's true.
They don't wear hats to school, and they don't wear masks.
No, their faces are normal, but the hands have changed. They have goblin hands, and no one will recognize it. Now, as a believer in
Well,
Jesus
why don't
Christ,
you call the police and have them arrested?
the police can't arrest you just for being a goblin. There's nothing.
Well, at this point...
Wait a minute. Wouldn't the police at least inform the hospital?
They're not going to arrest them for being goblins. It's the law.
No, but they might arrest you for being so nosy.
Oh, I see. So I get arrested, and goblins start popping up in everyone's neighborhood.
Oh, lady, I think you are definitely psychotic.
No, I think you're psychotic because you don't believe in the ghoul.
Palpitations, you're making your own, not somebody else is making it for you.
No, you are the one who is wrong because you don't believe in the ghoul or the goblin or the gremlin. What about those? What about gremlins?
Why are you so...
All right, I've got to stop this right now.
You have to stop
I appreciate your
you don't want me to get the truth out about goblins?
Bye.
Jesus has opened our eyes, and we've seen the goblin state. To everyone else, children, they're...
All right, that's great. So watch out, because the goblins are out there. And I wish I had that song by Frank Zappa, Goblin Girl. Only it's spelled Gobling. Okay, 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendrie Show. Phil Hendrie Show, and we are nationwide, baby, and we're #1 rated, and we're... Our affiliate in Detroit went Air America as the result of some success that happened with Air America in Portland. Air America is the worst radio I've ever heard in my life. Not because of the political opinions. I'm not talking about that. It represents everything that I hate about talk radio. The opinions are disingenuous. The callers are disingenuous. The whole thing is predicated on a big fat lie. They want you to believe that they have a certain political point of view, when in point of fact, they don't really have any belief system other than how can we make money? So it's like a programming decision. There's no freedom of thought. There's just people that are told to say, if ever there was a radio network that directed its hosts as to what it is they're supposed to say and would fire them if they don't say it, it's Air America. There. Am I making myself as clear as I possibly can? You talk about free speech? If ever a radio network existed in the history of America that will fire its hosts if they do not toe a corporately dictated line, it's Air America. That's it, in a nutshell. But if we're not on the Air America station in Detroit, don't call them up. Those numbskulls aren't going to put me back on the air, man. In fact, if ever there's a station that drops our show, do yourself and me a favor. Don't tell me about it. Don't email them. I don't care. I mean, I'm serious. It's just that nobody's going to be changing their opinion, all right? And if you think that Air America is progressive, as I said yesterday, the only progressive radio show on the air in America today is mine. You can call yourself progressive. It's kind of like you could call yourself... I don't know, you could call yourself jackass, you could call yourself hip, you could call yourself comb-over boy. But unless you're the real deal, Phil Hendrie Show.
Phil Hendrie Show, 1-800-449-8686.
Television programs and so forth. But primarily, we're interested in the treatment of cats and dogs, and
Animal Defense Alliance. With the Domestic Animal Defense Alliance. Ken, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thanks.
And Ken, you're protesting the treatment of domestic pets?
For the next 35 days, we are. We're going to protest how not only dogs and cats and canaries and these kinds of animals are treated, but animals that are kept by humans, whether for domesticated household reasons or animals that are wrangled for television programs and so forth. But primarily we're interested in the treatment of cats and dogs and the brutality that is meted out to these creatures every day. And
what shape is your protest going to take?
We're going to be drinking up. Would you shut up? We're going to be...
Who's that?
It's my wife coming in and out of the office here. Hold on. What do you want? I'm on the radio. I'm on the radio. We're going to be, I'm on the radio over here.
Do you want to take care of whatever it is?
No, hold on. She doesn't know. Come here. No, Ken, not again.
Did you just strike that woman?
Maybe maybe I didn't, maybe I didn't. What's it to you? Look, first of all, millions of American pets are drinking toilet water every day. Why? Because you leave the seat up. So we're going to be sipping out of toilets until it...
Get out of here. How do you treat my pet? Meanwhile, he's beating his wife up. So he's going to sit there and sip out of a toilet. I hope it was worth it, man. Here is Connie. Hello, Connie.
Hey, Phil.
How you doing?
Hey, listen, I'd rather beat my kid than my dogs.
You'd rather beat your kid than your dogs?
Well, yeah, because he's a 17-year-old, soon to be...
Have you been drinking?
Of course.
I don't like women that drink.
I'm sorry.
I don't like a drunken woman.
I'm sorry.
They bother me.
Listen, would
Do you sing?
Would you listen to me?
Sing me a...
...ago. Just keeps getting better, doesn't it?
Oh, man, I'm telling you, there isn't a place in this town now you can be sure that you got cell connection. Tony, the program that you are shopping, Escape from Fashion Island, is a reality show, which is what you do, along with... There's a lot of guys in the reality programming business. I imagine it's very competitive, isn't it?
Well, Mark Barnett has set the standard. I think that there are others who do it well. I think we do it well. I think the audience is still there for it. The production costs, again, are in line. But you have to keep challenging the parameters. And our Escape from Fashion Island, no one has ever done anything like this. No one, I think, could do anything like this other than Neil Productions. And it's taking something right out of the headlines, Phil. We see it every day, the abduction of children. And what we're doing with our television program is bringing people face-to-face with it. Are you as vigilant as you should be with your children? And I think we're doing a great service. I think, if anything, reality television does a great service. It educates. I think that's what television does. It educates and continues to educate people. It's amazing, in fact. Television has been around since the late 40s and has been educating people since the late 40s, and yet we still have a country that is not perhaps the country we want it to be. And I think what that means is people watching television are not paying attention, and they need to watch more carefully the things that we're bringing them, because we've got some phenomenal programming. And we think Escape from Fashion Island is just that.
All right, now this is a program that features child abduction, real child abduction, correct?
It does. We go into an average shopping mall. We have two teams. The teams are made up of college-age young men and women, and they are competing for $1 million per show. Now, you get a 13-episode pickup. You're talking about a $13 million budget simply for prize money. And the object is to successfully abduct a child from the mall and get them to the door of the mall without going outside and without being spotted by security or obviously the parents or any other shopper. And it's not as easy as you think it is.
All right. Well, that first of all, let's talk about this, because you say that the fact that you are taking a child to the door of the mall is not technically kidnapping?
It is only kidnapping if we take them outside the door of the mall. If we go through that door, it's kidnapping. What we're doing is we're abducting that child for several hundred yards. What takes place in the corridor of the mall, the object is to get to the other end of the mall with this child. And technically, it's, as I said, it's only kidnapping if the child leaves the mall. So we stop the team once they get to the door. But more importantly, the first team to successfully abduct and escape from Fashion Island wins the $1 million prize.
All right. Now, do you have the cooperation of mall security and so forth?
We do obtain their permission. They sign a release, and again, we are not technically kidnapping, just going to the door. The challenge is, what do you do when someone intervenes? Because one of the first challenges you have with abducting a child is something that many police call the hero type.
All right, now what is the hero type?
The hero type is the citizen who is not related in any way. It's just a third party observing this, and suddenly they're going to be a hero. And that's why we have teams of 5 people, because when these hero types try and intervene and they see that they're up against 5 people, they're going to back off pretty fast. Now, the next thing you have to deal with is the parent who may see this happen. This is very emotional. She's generally going to begin to cry, and she's going to rant and rave.
But these poor people don't know what's happening to them, do they?
Well, we make it worth their while. Now, this is the reason why our program is so groundbreaking. No parent is going to get upset when they find out what we are going to present to them
at the end of each episode. But when the teams see a mother begin to scream, it's an emotional moment. So that's something they have to overcome. And the first team to reach the door of the mall, and that's all the way at the other end of the mall. So it's pretty exciting. You're knocking people down. You're running through stores. You're up, you're knocking over displays. They win $1 million to be divided 5 ways with their team.
All right, let's talk about the parents. Obviously, they're going to get their child back.
Of course they did, Phil. Of course, and with our apologies, and also we present to the parent a scholarship worth almost $50,000 toward the education of that child. So you see, we yes, they are anguished, but at the end of the show, that parent has gone from frantic and frightened. They're laughing. They're overjoyed. We take pictures with our arms around each other. And
did both of the kids get scholarships?
Both of the kids?
If 2 kids are abducted and one team gets there first.
No. The scholarship goes to the child who was abducted by the winning team.
All right, well, you have one child whose team didn't abduct successfully, and he doesn't win the scholarship, and he's gone through a trauma, as his parents have, for nothing.
Well, I don't want you to prejudge this, Phil. It's kind of a battle we have with the media. You haven't seen the show, and I was hoping you would simply ask questions and not pass judgment, because the show does a lot of good for college students and for kids who want to go to college.
Tony Neal with us. We're talking about Escaped from Fashion Island. It's a reality show where a child is abducted, and it's all real, right, Tony? I mean, the parents don't know.
It is absolutely 100% real. At the end of each episode, at the end of each program, the parents know that it's a program, and they have a great time with it.
All right, 1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686. I have to tell you, and I'm going to just say I'm speaking as a father, if one of my kids was abducted by 5 college-age guys and they're running away...
Well, it's a team. There's teams of men and women, Phil.
All right, well, whatever. And I'm yelling and I'm screaming and I'm running after them. And at the end of the show, someone says to me it was just a joke for a TV show. I might be tempted to begin to swing physically. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you might be tempted, but when we present to you, a $50,000 scholarship for your child...
Well, what if my kid was the one who is not winning? What if, in other words, my kid was abducted by the team that doesn't win?
If your child is abducted by the losing team, I can tell you, Phil, we've never had a problem, because most people, bottom line, want to be on television. I know they don't want their children to be...
Well, Tony, let's see...
No, I know they don't want their children to be hurt, but their children aren't being hurt. And when you tell them that they're on television and they've been enjoyed by a great many millions of people, and I'll tell you something else. After watching my show, a lot of parents are going to be watching more closely how safe their kids are. And they're going to be asking themselves, how safe are these malls?
Well, you've got one parent and a child who have had to endure this, and they come away empty-handed.
Phil, this is also something I want to mention. Our show can prevent real abductions from taking place. That's something else our show does.
Yeah, but do you hear what I'm saying? One of the parents and their child, they endure this abduction, and they come away empty-handed.
And we're hoping also, Phil, for a pickup in the spring. I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm trying to get you to move past that and recognize how good this show is. And
no, but I'd like you to answer me directly. What happens to the parent? I don't even know. You claim that this is not illegal.
It is not illegal to grab a kid and take him to the door. It's illegal, but it's not kidnapping. That's a federal offense. So at most, our broadcast is some kind of an abduction, but you have to understand, we have the mall security cooperating. None of the kids get hurt. And it's exciting. I got to tell you, it's exciting. It's called Escape from Fashion Island. And I don't understand why you want to keep harping on this other aspect about the children.
Well, because you said that I'm coming into this thing prejudiced.
Phil, you got to learn to enjoy your life again. You have to learn to enjoy television again.
Well, wait a minute. It's not about enjoying television. If I got a kid...
Well, you mentioned using physical violence against the producers of the program.
If my kid's taken by some people and then they say, ha, you're on candid camera, I ain't going to think it's funny.
I would suggest that you resist the temptation to pose for your audience. And
no, well, forget me then if you don't believe me. You're going to hear from people tonight who are going to call in and say they do the same thing.
The people that call in to talk shows want to impress the host. If you talk that way, they're going to call in and talk the same way. But if you talk as if you understand it's a lot of fun, then you're not going to get those kind of people. but you've already set it up so they're going to call in, and then I'm going to be, excuse me for using the term, Phil, but you've set me up for a radio rape, and my program has not even hit the air yet.
All right. Well, no, I haven't. I don't. Radio rape? No.
No, I think you have set me and the producers up to be raped by your callers because you don't approve of our show. Our show is...
I'm just asking the simple question. You abduct 2 kids. The team that abducts the kid successfully, they win $1 million. The kid gets a scholarship. What about the other kid? He gets nothing.
So you find fault with the abduction of children, and then you say, why don't they get something? And again, you're setting me up to look bad in your audience's eyes.
All right. Maybe, maybe not. The show is called Escape from Fashion Island, where a team of college students abduct kids, take them as far as the door of the mall. If they're the first one to get there, they win $1 million. And the kid who gets abducted gets a $50,000 scholarship. The other kid, the other parents, I guess they get nothing other than the excitement of being on TV. 1-800-449-8686. Have we reached that point with television now where it's okay as a gag to abduct somebody's kid for a few hundred yards? In other words, what's the big problem with that? Have we reached the point in our insatiable lust for reality programming that a TV crew goes into a mall, abducts a kid to the door of the mall and says, whoop, we're legal here, and by the way, here's 50 G's for your pain and suffering? 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendrie Show.
1-800-449-8686.
Did your dad ever put a banana in your...
Four 449-8686.
All right, Tony, you there?
I'm right here, Phil.
Okay, I don't know whether you know it or not, but that belch went out over the air, and if we're talking about...
I apologize for that, Phil.
All right, but if we're talking about something serious here, then we need to be serious. And I have to ask you, are you appreciating what's going on here when you have a television show that proposes to abduct kids as far as the exit to the mall for $1 million and $50,000 for the parents for a scholarship?
Phil, I can tell you I'm very appreciative of it.
Well, let me ask you, are you a parent?
I am not, no.
Are you married?
I am not, no.
All right, so you're not married, you're not a parent, you don't have kids.
That doesn't mean, Phil, that I don't appreciate safety and I don't appreciate child welfare. I have 2 nieces and 2 nephews, and I will tell you that as a responsible American and citizen, I want to see children protected. This is one of the reasons why we're doing this program, to show people how easy it is to abduct their child. And I can tell you, every day we see these stories in the newspaper. Every day. Don't you think people would be grateful that when they found out the individual that abducted their child was an individual working for the crew and cast of Neil Productions, and that we were filming a television show and nothing was going to happen to that child other than they're carried back to their parent and they're awarded with a $50,000 check if they're on the winning team.
Yeah, if they're on the winning team, and the losing kid just gets carried back to his parents. 1-800.
You keep going back to that, and yet you don't seem to like the program, but then you don't like the prize money. I don't know where you stand on this.
You're right. I'm a little bit confused. 1-800-449-8686. John, you're on the Phil Hendrie Show with Tony Neal. Go ahead.
What's funny about doing something fake where a person stands? That's sick. If you do that, you're going to have more lawsuits than I've ever seen in the history. Do one show, and I guarantee you're going to have some lawsuits. You don't abduct children as a joke.
It's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's a competition.
A competition? Scarring children is a competition?
No. Showing parents how easy it is for their children to be abducted for them.
Okay, you showing the parents, but what about the children?
What about them? They're getting $50,000 in scholarship money.
How many children? One or every one that you abduct?
The children that is on the winning team. So in other words, the college students.
Now, what about the rest of the children? $50,000, you can't even buy a doggone tank of gas for a year with $50,000. That ain't poop.
Well, sir, I can tell you that'll pay for 1 year at a wonderful Ivy League college, or it can pay for 4 years at a state university. I don't know what you've got in mind.
All right. So it'll help them toward a school and college.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
what about the other children and the families that's going to be pissed off? You done took their children.
What are the other ones that lost, you mean?
Yeah. What do they do?
I think they should be grateful that they've learned a wonderful lesson, that they were so
come to
dumb.
Memphis, Tennessee. I'm going to bring my son, and I'm going to act stupid. You take my son.
Wait a minute. Why would you do that? Why would you? No, I don't understand. Why would you do that? Why would you purposefully? You see what I'm saying?
Because they're stupid at what you're doing.
You're using your child as bait,
and they're gonna show you.
Are you using your child? Look at John is your name, right?
Yeah.
John, I know that you're probably an old crawdad fisherman from way back, but using your child as bait, that's something else entirely. And
Well, what does that mean, a crawdad fisherman?
well, no, he's a southerner. I'm assuming that he's taken a trip to the crawdad hole. Have you taken a trip to the crawdad hole?
Have you,
John?
Well, you sound like a liberal. That's what's wrong with you.
A liberal? I'm just asking, have you ever come down to the crawdad hole?
I'm gonna go, but
look, guys,
don't make that show on TV because it sounds stupid.
Well, don't you
want? You don't take nobody children.
Do you see how many children
I've heard of in my life? Back.
Look, while you're down at the crawdad hole, your child is getting abducted, and I'm trying to.
Will you knock it off with the crawdad hole thing?
I'm just simply saying, children are being abducted every day in this country. Wouldn't this gentleman like a good stiff lesson in? Well, you see, he hung up, didn't he?
Yes.
And I'll tell you
why he hung up, because you started mocking him with the crawdad hole thing.
Well, he started saying that he was going to take his child to a mall, and he was going to use the child as bait. Now, if that doesn't sound like a couple of salmon eggs on a hook, I don't know what does. And I'm saying to you, look, I'm an old fisherman, Phil. I've been in bass tournaments. Believe me, I know what it is to be a fisherman. And using a child as bait, using a child as a wedge of cheese and a salmon egg on a lure is despicable. A lure is a lure. When you start jamming the cheese and the salmon egg on it, now you're just getting greedy.
I don't know the point you're making. What did you just say?
I think I made myself very clear.
I don't understand one thing you just said.
I made myself clear in terms of children being used as salmon eggs and cheese.
All right, 1-800-449-8686. We'll go over here to Tyler. Tyler, go ahead.
Hey, yeah, I was calling in. I mean,
yes, sir.
First he said that he's trying to teach people to protect their kids.
Absolutely,
I mean, who's he really teaching? You're teaching child molesters and stuff like that how to get people's kids and run away. And
we are putting parents through a crash course in how easy it is to abduct a child. And as I said, the headlines are full of it. When are we going to start learning?
Come on, Tony. This is a television show that you're trying to make a couple of bucks on. It's an exciting reality show. What do you mean, teach?
Yeah, television is for teaching people.
Oh, baloney. There might have been a time when people believed that. Nobody believes it anymore. TV's not teaching anybody.
This gentleman here that I'm talking to, Phil, are you a father, sir?
Yeah, I am a father.
All right.
I think if you grabbed my kid and you started running away, I'd probably shoot you. And if you got to the end of the mall and you said, hey, I'm sorry, I was trying to teach you a lesson,
all right,
it's not going to be good.
You just shot someone that was trying to help you.
You were trying to help take my kid and run away?
No, I'm not going to take your kid. I'm trying to teach you how easy. And first of all, why is it that I was able to get your kid and run away with him? So you haven't thought of that, have you? You've got the gun, and yet I've already got your kid, and I'm running with your kid. Now, you take a shot. What are the chances you hit that child? Didn't think of that one either, did you?
Look, I'm going to go down swinging. You're not going to get my kid and run away.
Well, you're certainly not going to take a shot in a crowded mall, are you? Are you really going to do
my daughter? Yes, I would.
And kill like 3 people as the bullet passes through their skulls?
If it started with you, I wouldn't mind.
Well, sir, I think you're just a cowboy. I don't think you really know what you're talking about. But I will tell you that I'm giving you a lesson in how to, if I can grab your kid and then you make like Wyatt Earp, pull the gun, blast away, there go 3 guys that work at Toys R Us in a green vest. They're done. Here goes another kid down at the Penguin frozen yogurt store, and your kid is still in my clutches.
I don't think that works. I think when the red dot's on you, it's going to hit you.
So you're walking around. Let me ask you a question. How is it that you're walking around with a gun with a laser sight on it?
I have a permit.
Just to walk around with a laser-sighted pistol?
Yes. Yes, I live in West Virginia. It's a pretty rural area. I have a permit.
All right, I'll ask you the same question I asked the last gentleman. You go down to the crawdad hole?
Will you stop with that crawdad hole?
Well, he's using his child as bait. I'm trying to make the illusion between bait and...
Yeah, I understand
That's my point. My child's not bait. My child's not for you to teach the world something. If you grab my kid and run, that's not right.
Well, sir, I would suggest then that you not make it so easy for me to grab your kid and run. Oh, I won that. Yeah. Score it for me.
All right, thank you. How do you figure you won?
Score it.
How do you figure you won?
2 points.
Mr. Neal, grow up. How do you figure you won?
Bob McAdoo. I'm not going to talk to you until we get back to the break. I'm tired of being manipulated.
How do you figure you won that point with that guy?
We'll be back after this word on the Laker Broadcast Network.
Phil Hendrie Show, 1-800-449-8686.
The Phil... 1-800-449-8686. The Phil Hendrie Show
really
is
back. To that guy, and when he said what he said, I made a good point.
I don't know how you made the point. I mean, he said that he's going to shoot anybody that tries to abduct his child.
And I said to him, then why do you make it so easy to abduct your child? And he froze for that instant, which means score it, Neal. All right, Neal Productions, three-pointer. From the left side of the circle. See what I'm saying? So, Phil, it's really a matter of our television program.
Look at what happens if you go into a mall, you grab a kid, and the father or the mother does pull a pistol and shoots one of the team members.
Well, we've got ourselves a lawsuit because...
You're going to sue them?
I'm going to sue anyone that pulls a weapon in a crowded mall, I think, is subject to a lawsuit. That's number one. Number two, the purpose of this program is to show how easy it is to kipe somebody's kid. And
what do you mean, kipe someone's kid?
What I meant is to abduct him. And if he shoots me for teaching him a lesson as to how easy it is for me to get his kid, that's insanity. That's utter insanity to blow me away because I showed you how dumb you are. I don't understand that.
All right, 1-800-449...
We're getting way far afield.
Well, keep in mind, this program is not just to promote your show, it's to ask you questions about it. 1-800-449-8686. Amy, go ahead. You're on the Phil Hendrie Show.
Hi. I want to know where you think that it's okay to use a child to teach an adult a lesson. I understand what you're saying about, in some cases, parents perhaps should pay closer attention, but who are you to use a child to teach that lesson?
Well, we're not really using the child. The child doesn't know what's going on, and it's all over so quickly that whatever trauma the child suffers, we're not talking about a trauma that's going to cause the child to become a criminal. It's a trauma that maybe will cause the child to have a nervous twitch or something like that, but we're not, in other words, if they start drinking heavily, it's not our problem. What we're trying to do is show parents how the culture has changed. It's very easy to abduct children. Now, that last gentleman I spoke to with the laser sight on his pistol, and he's got his Wyatt Earp saddle, and I'm sure he rides his horse right up to the mall and has himself a splendid time. Meanwhile, his child is going out the back door with pervs.
Wait a minute. You just acknowledged that you may hurt the child, in your words, in your opinion, not that badly, but you're still acknowledging that you
can
allow it,
Didn't you just say, Tony?
You are not. Who are you to make a judgment to make the child suffer in any way, shape, or form at all? That is not your judgment to make.
We want to keep that child alive. Let's remember, Amy, our goal is to keep that child alive. Now, if in the process of keeping that child alive, they smoke cigarettes until they're 50, is that so terrible? At least they had a life.
Well, what are you talking about, smoke cigarettes? As the result of them being abducted as an infant or as a small child, they develop a cigarette habit.
Yes.
Well, that's...
Cigarettes have got absolutely nothing to do with this. I am talking about what makes you think that it's okay for you to cause any child any trauma whatsoever, period.
I work in the television industry, and we have a sacred trust. We have a sacred trust to educate. And
oh, come on, man.
Then do a documentary. Do a documentary telling parents how easy it is to have their child abducted, but do not ever lay hands on a child. That is wrong.
I understand what you're saying, but you just mentioned the word documentary. Do you know, and I'm going to try to be as delicate as I can, Do you know the variety of carnal acts you have to perform for distributors and producers to get a documentary exhibited?
That's
And
not my problem. I'm not in the
Christian.
entertainment business. That's your problem. I am saying that I don't care, for whatever reason, you do not have
I
the
will tell
right
you this.
to hurt a child. You do not have the right
Absolutely.
to hurt a child.
Well, we don't know that we're hurting the child. We don't know that we're hurting the child, do we? The child,
If
all
you
the
take
child
a
knows.
child away from a parent, you are hurting them.
Well,
If
how do you
are
know?
a
Maybe the child
person-
wanted to get away from the parent. Maybe the child is sick and tired of the parent. Maybe the child is disgusted with the parent. And for a brief few seconds, you've allowed that child to breathe clean, fresh air. Now, yes, you take it back to the parent. Of course you will, because that's the legal thing to do. But perhaps abducting that child.
Oh, come on! What kind of cockamamie crap? And what are you're coming up with all kinds of stuff?
No, I'm simply saying to you and this caller that children are,
You're not. Wait a minute.
children.
I'm not coming up with stuff. You're the one who's talking about smoking cigarettes. I'm talking about the fact that you are going to take a child for whatever period of time. I don't care if it's 1 second or 1 year. You're taking a child away from the
But
parent.
you think
do
that
not
that's bad.
have a right to do
You think
that.
that's bad. I'm saying it may be good. If the kid could speak, he may say to us, "Thank Christ you did that." Have you thought about that?
What do you mean if the kid could speak? How old are these children that you're abducting?
You know, Phil, I think this has gotten so far afield. I think this lady is completely off her rocker.
She's off her rocker.
Field, I am right on. I am talking about the fact that you are taking children, and I'm telling you that is wrong. You're the one who's trying to get things off the subject by talking about crawdad holes and smoking cigarettes. The fact remains you are talking about taking children from their parents, and that is wrong.
Amy, I'm sorry if you are hurt by the information that it may be a blessed day for your child to get away from you for a few minutes. I'm sorry if that hurts you. But I am saying...
Oh, look, this is not about what the kid wants. That's what you...
It's not about a kid getting away from a parent for a few minutes. It's not about a kid going to school or going to the park or going to a play date. This is about a stranger taking a child. Someone this child does not know is going to be scooping them up and taking them away from the world that they do know, which is their family.
All right, can I tell you?
That should not be done.
All right, Amy, can I tell you something? Let's suppose we're in the mall. There you are. There's your child. Our team A, our blue team, which is manned, let's say, by students from Slippery Rock, and B team, or our yellow team, is from Florida State. Now, they grab the child and run. Now, the child comes back to you. You're frantic. We understand. But we present to you, with a team of photographers, a $50,000 check. And if you want, we'll make it out to you exclusively so you don't even have to give it to the kid. Is that your problem? You're worried that you're going to have to give the $50 to the kid for education. We can make it so you can keep it.
What are you talking about now, man? You talking about violating the freaking
no
the law?
amount of money possible.
I think you're upset that the 50 goes to the kid.
There is no amount of money you could give someone to replace
No. Your child is back.
damage to a child.
Your child is back with you.
You're saying that. Oh, well, okay, so what if you keep the kid for 5 seconds, is that $50,000? If you keep him for 10 seconds, is that $100,000? You cannot quantify
What if we sweeten the pot?
emotional damage with money.
What if we throw in a car?
We're trying to do it all the time, but you cannot do that. You cannot make that judgment.
Ma'am,
you should not emotionally hurt a child, period. And to try to make it better with money is wrong.
I don't think you can say the child's being hurt. Secondly, what if we sweetened the pot? What if we threw in a brand new C-Series Mercedes?
Oh, yeah, big deal.
Excuse me?
$35,000 Mercedes.
Money. Why don't you understand that? Why do you think that money
get a load of
is okay?
Amy, hold on for a minute. I just wanted you to notice this momentous moment. Mr. Hendrie here is going, woo, to a $35,000 Mercedes. That's not good enough for you?
I think you're talking to a woman here who's just been put through a trauma. Her child was taken. Now she's got the kid back. You're laying a $50,000 check on her and a C-Series Mercedes. I'd kick you. You know what I'd do.
Well, because I think you've got a tendency to react criminally to certain things, Mr. Hendrie. That's why this is a phone interview and I'm not in the studio. Because we remember last May, don't we?
I regretted that.
Uh-huh. Amy, do you know that Mr. Hendrie, when I was in his studio, do you know he came after me and tried to strangle me?
I have no idea what history you two have, and frankly, I don't care. All I'm telling you is that I would implore you not to take anyone's child for any reason, period.
Even if we sweetened the pot to $100,000, you wouldn't like that? That wouldn't make you get down on your knees and pray?
What kind of language is that to use to a mother? All right, look at Amy. I got to take a break here.
You wouldn't get down on your knees and pray for that?
No. I would never get down and pray for anyone to take my child. There is no amount of money you could offer me.
Can I ask you this? Can I just ask you this?
My child.
What if I could give you a crystal ball and you could look into the future and find out your kid isn't going to be all that special? Would it bother you then?
Oh, that's real great, man.
Be special
no,
to
you
me.
know what I mean.
Whether
He's
or
working,
not
he's pushing a broom somewhere.
To you is irrelevant. My child is very special to me.
But you know what I'm saying. What if we find out that he's going to be like he'll assassinate a president? Oh, something to think about.
Why do you,
what a
trying to change the subject?
You know what, Amy, I got to run.
Why will you not acknowledge simply that this is wrong?
I got to take a break, Amy. I think you were very patient and you made outstanding points.
You know, Mr. Hendrie, the way you pander and whore yourself out.
Look at pal, I've heard enough of you. Amy, thank you. Ooh, something to think about. 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendrie Show.
Phil Hendrie Show.
That when I said to that lady, what if your kid will grow up to become a presidential assassin, she froze. Score it, Neil Productions. You see, Phil, this is about making sense. And as we make sense, we make dollars. Huh? Huh? You like it?
I'm not impressed, man.
Mm-hmm.
1-800-449-8686. Betty, go ahead. Hi, you're on the Phil Hendrie Show.
Yes, hello?
Yes, Betty, go right ahead.
Yes.
Hello, Betty. This is Tony Neal.
Yeah, I don't know what this guy is, you know.
How are you doing, dear?
I'm disgusting about this guy. I'm disgusting completely about this guy.
You're disgusting?
Yeah.
You're disgusting. I'm not, but you are?
Everybody, I think everybody
that's what you said. You said that hi, Tony, I'm Betty, and I'm disgusting. That's how you led the phone call. I don't understand.
She's disgusted with you.
Well, that's not what you said, is it?
About this guy doing this show about kidnapping kids. You know, this is. I don't know how far they're going to go with these reality shows.
Well,
this is outrageous.
What reality show do you like the best? Have you watched all the reality shows?
Not all of them. Not all of them. You know, I don't even watch that much TV.
Let me ask you, Betty, have you been down to the Crawdad Hall?
Huh?
What television shows are your favorite ones?
Tony, don't make fun of the lady.
I'm not making fun. I'm asking, what are your favorite television programs? I'm interested.
I like funny shows.
Yeah, I'm in the television business, so I want to know. You like the comedies. You like the sitcom. Did you like Jerry Seinfeld's show, for instance?
Not really. No, not too much. No.
Do you like, what funny shows are on right now, Phil?
Well, 70s show and that kind of stuff. Oh, what's on? I mean, I don't even watch TV.
Listen, I'm not.
What the hell are we talking about? We're talking about, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
you are making money. You're making money at the suffering of parents and kids, and you don't know what the kids are going to go through and how they're going to deal later on in life. When, you know.
Betty, can I ask you, darling, do you get good reception to those rabbit ears?
Okay, listen to me. Listen to me. Okay, listen to me.
What is that supposed to mean, Tony?
Well, I assume she doesn't have cable. Do you have cable?
Yes, I do.
Oh, so you don't have the rabbit ears?
No, I got satellite. Okay, I got satellite.
Do you enjoy Will and Grace? Do you like Scrubs?
Okay.
I know Neil Flynn. He's a wonderful man.
Listen.
Will you listen to her and stop?
No amount of money is going to pay me for the suffering that I go through if one of my kids is going to.
What about a brand new Cadillac Coupe de Ville?
Okay. Nothing. No amount in the world is going to do it.
Let me tell you something. The money, you wouldn't have to have tinfoil on the end of those rabbit ears.
You can't put a price on that. And you're making money out of it. If I find out what network, okay, I don't know yet what network you're going to show that.
ABC.
I'm never going to watch. And I'm going to boycott that show, okay?
You're going to boycott the whole network?
Yeah.
Betty,
you know what, Betty, this is Phil Hendrie, and I think what Tony's doing here is he's trying to get information from you about your viewing habits, and he's not really listening to you. You're saying it's disgusting, and I think a lot of people are saying these reality shows, too far, man.
What do you mean too far? They're watching them. They're making. If it's too far, then how come? How about a brand new electric wheelchair or a stair climber?
Listen. These two teams are going to make.
Can I ask you a question, Betty?
$1 million. $1 million.
Betty, if Eric Estrada was the one abducting the children, I think you'd have a different point of view, wouldn't you? If Eric Estrada was abducting those children, you'd like it.
Okay,
There you go. Drag Eric Estrada's name into it.
Why not? He could use the publicity. Plus,
yeah.
I can understand you teaching people how to protect the kids.
Betty, can I ask you seriously? What if the person abducting the children was Cesar Romero? Now what? Yeah. Woohoo! Tony Neal, 3 points.
You,
all right.
You called part of that, the part of your body where your runny Spanish cooking comes out.
I wish that show, unit show one, and people.
What unit show? Hey, there's a great idea.
I would say,
a show of units.
We don't want to see that.
How much money would a man accept?
Ratings are so
Okay, we got to dump out of Betty because she said the.
She's a foul-mouthed old Spaniard. Look, Phil. Betty, if you're there, what if the host of the show was B. Arthur and the guy doing the abducting was Ricardo Montalban, spelled occasionally by that, whatever that guy is.
What guy?
Who's the guy that was funny down there?
I don't know. What guy?
The Mexican comic.
Pele?
Pele. He's Ow!
Sorry, I don't know who it is. Pele. Oh, he played soccer, right, bud?
Yeah, you douche.
1-800-449-86. What am I being called a douche? This is the guy that's got freaking kids being abducted. What if he turns out to be a presidential assassin? Hey, think about that one. 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendrie Show.
Phil Hendrie Show. 1-800-449-8686.
When was your last pork chop inhalation? These are the questions I ask myself. You lost your balls, and along with it, you lost your manhood. I'm the only one standing up anymore. I'm not going to take it anymore.
I think you're out of your mind. You shouldn't be teaching kids. You should be in a nut house.
Yeah, that's what they said. They all said that about me. But I'm going to tell you something right now. Some kid twitches a finger, oh yeah. Moves a muscle, yeah. I'm going to waste in my waistband. You can bet your bottom dollar. Excuse me for a minute. Okay, I took care of it. I just had to leave the room to fart.
Yeah, get out of here. 1-800-449-8686. What is this guy? What is this, the outlaw Josie Way?
You don't want to talk to me anymore, okay? Because you don't...
I think you're out of your mind. You're not a teacher. You're a madman. You're a maniac. And you don't belong on the air.
Oh, is that right?
That's right.
You know what you look like to me with your cheap bag and your good shoes? You look like a rube. Good nutrition's giving you length of bone, but you're still not too much removed from poor white trash. All those tedious, sticky fumblings in the back seats of cars, and you dreamt of getting away, didn't you, Phil Hendrie? Getting anywhere, getting all the way to the FBI.
What? Jesus. Dozier's nuts. Do that again, Vernon. I like that.
You know what you look like to me with your good bag and your bad shoes? You look like a rube. A well-scrubbed, hustling rube. Good nutrition's giving you length of bone, but you're not too far much removed from poor white trash and all those tedious, sticky fumblings in the back seats of cars while you dreamt of getting out, getting anywhere, getting all the way to the FBI. Can I get the check?
Get out of here. I had to dump myself again. How many times this week, Mark? I said the F word. I didn't really say it. It just sort of went F, and then I... All right, 1-800-449-8686. Animal rights. Oh, by the way, just before we get into anything else, I want to remind you that that was me doing the voice of Vernon Dozier, and the people that called in were...